Welcome to Soft Bad Monkey, a safe space for savages. This podcast is comedy. We don't discriminate. We don't care about your race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We make fun of everyone equally. We are veterans, offensive by nature, so if there's kids in the car, turn us off. Seriously, I'll wait. We've evolved. It's still JD and Uncle Steve, but now we have Paulie. As for Jay, he's fluffing on man porn. We talk like we are in the team room, platoon space, or whatever you call it. We're meat eaters and knuckle draggers, so put on your fucking helmet because we're coming in hot.
Welcome to Soft Bad Monkey with your host,
Jason Delgado,
Paulie Rivera, and special guest host, Kenny, former Marine Recon, a.k.a. the Black Unicorn, because he can swim, you get it, and former Marine, entrepreneur, and philanthropist, Ray Guasp. Also, we have in the back, chilling in the cut, Jeff Violette, also former Marine. And today's special guest of honor, First Sergeant Ben Granger. Welcome, First Sergeant. How you doing?
Hoorah.
First and foremost, gentlemen, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Right.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
245.
There you go. Talk about it.
Right.
245. Where? In Tun Tavern? We got the photo here?
Yeah.
There you go.
We got a Tun Tavern on the wall.
That's right. Don't forget to catch it. I think I got it, though. So I just want to start by saying we are in what these gentlemen, through their efforts, have stated to be a holy place. Is that an understatement, or that is exactly what we got
absolutely.
here? So here's why we're here. The first time I came up here, I was introduced to First Sergeant Granger here and what they were doing. I believe you guys had brought up the emblem that you had formed down there where you're at in Florida. Brought it up here, we hung it up, and that's when I actually got to see what was going on in here. And it hit me. As you start to look at all the pictures in the back of the wall and all the memorabilia up here, which is of several individuals, this is a place of remembering and honoring the fallen. So I would like to start this episode maybe with a little bit of what we got going on here.
We got some Screwball.
Mm-hmm.
This is some peanut butter whiskey.
And I just want to take a shot for our brothers before we commence. Is that cool with you guys?
I'm good
Oh,
with it.
absolutely. Absolutely. And as we know in the barn, we drink with them. We
Yes,
don't
sir.
drink to them, as the emblem that Kenny brought up.
So as we start going into these pours, First Sergeant, if you wouldn't mind, can we get a little bit of background on you? When you started in the Marine Corps, where you grew up, and how'd you get into the Marine Corps? And more importantly, just the years that you dedicated to the Corps, the men you raised, and the continuing, we'll get into that, but the continuing of your service there on after, which is what we're doing here, I think. It's tied into it. But introduce yourself to the world, First Sergeant.
I grew up in South Carolina and somehow ended up in cold-ass Connecticut. And but I was brought here for a reason to the state, which we'll get into later. But when I grew up, starting the 5th grade, I was always going by the recruiter's office on my way home because I knew I wanted to be a Marine. And then I graduated high school in 1985. Called my mom. Well, actually, I was at home. I was like, Mom, I'm going to boot camp on Monday. She's like, what? She screamed. I was like, what? No, my mom was very religious. She actually thought I was going to be a priest. And that's not in joking. She actually thought I was going to be a priest. Now, I said, I'm leaving for boot camp Monday morning, in 1985, and do my Marine Corps career. I was in the right place at the right time, I went to Parris Island, I grew up in South Carolina. I actually got on the bus with the civilians. I showed up on Parris Island because there was no getting an airplane and coming at the airport. You're in South Carolina. I pulled in, they had all the civilians just like on the TV shows. And they're like, Joe sort of came on, like, who's getting off here? And I was the only one that stood up. And And
Wow. Everybody else is still frozen with fear.
all the
He's like,
civilians on there like,
well, let's get this over with.
this poor kid, poor guy. And
Get off my bus now.
I got off that bus and got on them yellow footprints, and everybody else left. I'm like, maybe I should be on the bus. And the odd thing about it is in 1985, when you went to the bus station, it was a Greyhound station. Back in those days, you could still buy a Playboy magazine out of the rack right there at the damn bus station.
So you did?
Oh, well, you know how everything goes when you lose everything you own when you get on them yellow footprints. But I just thought that was kind of, looking back on it now, like.
To that point, you guys remember going into the VHS rental place, and they had the little booth behind the screen?
Yeah.
That's what it was.
No, I never heard of that.
Yeah, no.
Here's the thing. I always wanted to ask a drill instructor: did they put saltpeter in our food for real?
Nah. Not that I knew about. Nah,
That's what I told
We
you.
were talking about it the other night.
Wait, explain where this is coming from. What is it? What is apparently the saltpeter is?
Saltpeter is supposed to not get you
An
hard.
erection, right?
An erection, right? For the whole 3 months I was in boot camp, I never got a woody until the day before I was gonna go home,
Let me tell you
which
something.
was odd. You wake up in the morning.
With 50 other dudes, you get it hard
No,
on.
when you but on a regular, you wake up every day with a woody, right?
It's a natural event.
Not for 3 months. That happened to me.
And I was a drill instructor. We walked around 4 in the morning. We walked in. If you had a woody, your ass was getting dropped. You weren't gutting. You weren't walking around no parade there.
Man, this guy is weird. The saltpeter's not working. You want an extra dose?
50 guys in the room can't move, and this fucker's got
Well,
a woody.
Because that's always been what they say.
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor.
Well,
They put saltpeter in our food.
because there's no better segue to this, I'd say we go ahead and give a toast to our brothers. That is the most appropriate Marine segue to a toast honoring their lives. Thank you. I love you guys. You know we do.
Cheers.
God bless you guys. Cheers, man.
Semper Fi. Happy
Hey,
birthday.
Semper
brother.
Fi, happy birthday, killers.
Now, let me tell you why. I know for a fact there was no saltpeter in that chow. Because the drill instructors ate in the fucking same chow hall. And we got to go home.
That's a good point, bro. That's a good point.
I actually think so.
You know what I'm saying?
I retired my argument.
That makes sense. That's true.
I think we were just always like
Just
in
so.
fear
I think you're right.
and awkward.
Yeah.
Because, it's kind of very awkward with 10 other people and the shit are butt naked. That's fucking weird.
Unless you're the weird dude in the platoon. Like we had a dude. I still remember the dude's name. His name was Nowicki. Shout out Nowicki, you pervert. And I had Firewatch, and I caught that dude in the stall, because the stalls don't have any doors, and he's in there like, chaka, chaka, chaka.
Who is beating his meat?
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
And receiving.
At receiving, damn.
At receiving, out of all places, and I never forget, I had Firewatch, and I put the moonbeam on, he's like,
Wait, explain this to me. Receiving?
and receiving, before you pick up to go to your freaking...
Oh,
your
in
platoon.
receiving. I
In
thought that was a
receiving.
sexual act.
I thought that
By Scott, what you walk in on?
was in receiving, dude.
It was receiving, right?
I was like, what the...
That feels better. Thank you.
I was like, he's going to be that guy. He was. for
He
sure.
was that guy.
He was that guy.
So real quick, going back, right? So 1985, I get on that bus, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, Greyhound Station. I'm sitting there waiting, looking at the Playboys in the stand, thinking I ain't gonna see that for a while. And get to boot camp, graduate Paris Island. Then they send me to School of Infantry, 0311, right?
Congratulations. You made it.
Bullshit. I go to Camp Geiger. I'll be close to home. No big deal. Except for me and one other guy got orders to Camp Billington
Oh, you
for SOI. I was like, holy shit. I'm in South Carolina. I live in South Carolina. They send me to California.
For SOI. That's
For
crazy.
SOI, School of
That's so weird. Because
That
you're
is
like,
weird, 'cause you're
right,
like right
there.
Yeah, but
your
that's
backyard.
the
Yeah.
big green weenie for you, bro.
Because where you thinking, I get to go home.
I get to go home.
I get to eat
Home
mama's
cooked
cooked
meals.
food.
Yes, exactly.
Dude, I used to always, those guys from the West Coast used to be like, we had the swamp and this, that. They go, we got the hills. You don't realize until you go out to the California and you have to hump those fucking hills.
The fire breaks.
You're like,
Pendleton. You know.
you know what? You got that. And it's shitty because you know what? The airport is right there.
Yeah.
The airport is right there, man.
Here's
They-
them planes come
And the
go.
ocean.
in the ocean,
And the
every
ocean.
day, dude.
You clear one of those 5 bricks, it's like freedom.
Problem is you gotta get over that damn mountain. Right?
Exactly.
No, I have recruits later on when I became a drill instructor who actually went over the fences at San Diego, fucking going AWOL, and they would try to buy stuff out in town with the recruit chits, back then. And of course, the people knew, and they called the sheriff, and the sheriff would bring it back to us. And
Motherfucker wearing the moonbeam.
I had both my fire watches go over the fence.
What? Firewatch? They were in
Both of
cahoots?
them. They both
Bastards.
jumped the fence in San Diego.
Wow.
It's dereliction of duty.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. So I
So
just
you found yourself in California from the East Coast.
right.
How was that for you?
I would say, when you're a young kid, you're enjoying it, and back then things were looked on differently, like the hookers and everything else.
Best part of San Diego, man.
But
Winning room.
so me and Brents were the only two from our platoon. We were in PFC. I was married towards PFC. He was private. Brents played football in Michigan. Right, he was a lineman. He was fucking huge, but he ran out of money, his scholarship, and everybody's huge at Michigan, So we're the only ones there. And then one night, we're down in Oceanside, and we're trying to find a way back to the base. And the guy stops and he had a Firebird, and he's like, "Hey, hop in, I'll give you all a ride." We jump in the car, and I see a screwdriver sticking out of the column. I'm like, "Brent, we need to get the fuck out of this car." It's like, "Oh no, they're gonna give us a ride." I'm like, "Dude, there's a screwdriver in the column."
That shit's hot.
And he didn't get out of the car. I did, and they had to pick him up.
They pinched him?
Oof.
Oh yeah, he got pinched, even though he was in the back seat.
Yeah, he was still in the stolen vehicle though.
Oh
so.
yeah. And Brent wasn't the smartest guy, but he was huge.
Well, clearly, once you pop smoke, he should have pop smoke with you.
Hey,
That's what you get.
Brent wasn't the smartest guy. Brent was huge. In the brain, he was probably a little small, like Tyrannosaurus Rex kind of thing going on there.
And God got a
That
funny
T-Rex.
way of expressing balance. I don't know. He'll give someone superpower, but then make them fucking
So
dumb
then
as a
the-
box of rocks.
The funny thing is, we're sitting there at SOI. Here comes 8th and I, right? The big screen teams, Washington, D.C. They come to SOI, they come to the grunt units. So they put all the infantry SOI units, companies in the gymnasium. They're like, "All right, if you're here on a drug waiver, stand up. Get out. If you're here, if you're under 6 foot tall, stand up. Get out," right? So they're whittling down the group. There's a handful of us left. By the time they went through all the waivers and everything else, there's only a handful of us there. Of course, me and Brents are there, right? And
Because y'all was tall.
yeah, we're tall.
Genetically engineered.
Had no waivers, no drugs, no nothing,
I don't know what that's like. I'm Puerto Rican. So we're capped at 5'9". Everyone knows this. You know this.
I was going to ask, the tall part or the
Hey,
waiver?
hey. We blessed down there, okay? We blessed down there. Some of us.
The
some of
drug
us.
waivers and all that shit. But anyways, so this captain says, and I was a meritorious Lance Corporal actually out of SOI too, but the platoon guy. And anyways, like, "Hey, you've been selected. You're going to 8th and I." I was like, "I don't want to go because
That's why they needed you guys 6 foot tall.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
He goes, "Well, why don't you want to go?" I was like, "Well, I heard all these stories from the corporals and the sergeants. Too bad you're going anyway."
Voluntold.
Oh, yeah. Voluntold. And so from there, I ended up at 8th and I for a couple of years. We did all the funerals at Arlington. It kind of leads into some of what this barn's about. We did all the Tuesday night parades, Friday night parades, and those kind of things, at 8th and I for a couple of years. Stuff at the White House, Pentagon, all that kind of stuff. Brent was on the body bearers because he was huge. So he would carry the caskets. I usually did the firing parties at Arlington. And back in those days, that was the late 80s. I know body bearers were huge. You'd find all the steroid needles in the trash cans and stuff. It was common practice, We go out to the bars, me and Brent's, and I don't know what it is, but people just had to pick with the big Marines,
Fuck with them.
They had to fuck with them in the bar. We used to go to Anastasia's, down by Georgetown and stuff, and they would fuck with him like, "Dude, what are you doing?" People had to fuck with him. So one day, and Brents would eat the glass off he would break the lights off the walls and start eating glass. You know, he was just roided out. You know, he was crazy.
I like this guy.
Oh yeah, and so this one guy was fucking with him one night, and he just drug him like across everybody's table, every civilian eating, right across the table. Plates are flying, meals are flying, right out the front door, and just fucking and threw him out. You know, and so I did a couple years at 8th and I, you know, the Pentagon, the White House, and all that good stuff. You know, burying a lot of good Marines. I don't say 80s.
On average, funeral detail for your tenure there, how often would you?
Let me tell you this: it's very seasonal. Funerals are very seasonal, and more people die in the wintertime around the holidays. So in the summertime, I would do a funeral here. I would do a funeral there. In the wintertime around Christmas, I might do 5 funerals in a day.
That is so profound.
Because the older Marines are, you know, you're more depressed during the wintertime. You know, you're lonely. You don't have your family. You're older. And we would race. They would have us on the bus, and I would do the firing parties. They would race us all around Arlington. They would schedule them, you know, obviously. I could do 5 funerals a day. And that's the only place where we would spit shine boots because of all the snow and ice. We would wear boots and dress blues, and they were spit shine, so you couldn't tell they weren't qualified.
Yeah, I remember spit shine in the boots.
Yeah.
We were the tail end Charlie of that, where we had to stay flow the uniforms and spit shine the boots. I'm glad I got to do that. It required a tremendous amount of discipline to get up at like an hour earlier if you didn't prep your shit to prep your shit. That is pride in uniform, and I think that we missed that.
At Arlington, we would wear boots in our dress blues because you couldn't carry the caskets or march. You know,
You had the traction, right?
And
traction.
cornflames,
Yeah, cornflames up the hill.
because you need the wraps for your ankles.
And you got to have that print because their families are there.
You can't fuck up.
You know what I'm saying?
There's no fucking up.
Their family, they're seeing their sons, their husbands, whatever. You have to be right. You have to be a Marine. You had to be a Marine. And only a Marine can fucking do it.
So I went, it is funny because I go, every year we go, I'm on a National Honor Guard for work, and we go every year to train with the Old Guard. And then we go over there and train with them, and then we went one year and did some stuff with 8th and I, and it's like night and day, dude. Like those guys are, first of all, they're all like E2s, E3s, like, because a lot of people don't know, the Old Guard is considered an infantry unit.
Yeah.
So you have all these brand new soldiers that are there. That's their first unit. So they're just smoking and joking. Like they'll talk to the lieutenant like, "Hey, what's up, Bruce?" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" That would never happen to me. And then you go to 8th and 9, it's like night and day, dude. Yeah. Like, you know, so we trained with 8th and 9, and the difference, man, was like night and day. The discipline that these guys had was incredible. One of my best friends, he spent some time at 8th and 9, and like these guys couldn't even sit down. Like, they would have to stand up. They couldn't sit down because they would want to wrinkle their pants.
Yeah,
like, they had to stay, standing up the whole time.
No, and then there's a thing where you had the aftermarket shit, like Creighton shirts. You know what I'm saying? Like those, and you're a drill instructor. You were a drill instructor, so you know
I had
that pride gets bumped up a level. You know, Creighton. So explain that. That's like.
But let me tell you this: you're on fire watch at 8th and I, and the commandant of the Marine Corps board, then he walks over to the barracks.
Shut up.
Oh yeah,
that happens.
Yeah. I was there for the change of command. I did the change of command from General P.X. Kelly to Al Gray. And Al Gray, as commandant, he was known as a grunt. He was like a Marine commandant. You know, I'm not taking away from P.X. Kelly. But Al Gray would come over all the time and shoot the shit with the fire watches. You know, you had to tell the CO, "Hey, commandant came by last night. You know, shoot the shit." You know, you didn't want to be in his logbook. But I would tell you, the field days at 8th and I.
Fucking Lance Corporal Granger had a generic shirt on. It wasn't Creighton.
We would, because you never knew when the commandant was going to be around because it's across the street.
Yeah.
We razor bladed the decks. That's when we used to wax decks. Yeah. You razor bladed the decks to get all the buildup of wax around them corners by the baseboards. You would sand down once a month. There was arm rails around the windows. Yeah. They were wood. You would sand them down, restain them, retool them. Your rifles at parades, if you got a dent in that thing, you were sanding that down. It took a coat of stain, it I still have an M1 stock around here from 8th and I.
I believe you.
7 coats of True Oil to get that freaking thing. And True Oil is what makes it shine.
Wow.
Wait.
Because
I want to muscle some emotion in you.
Yeah.
Brasso.
See his face?
His face like,
Brasso was your friend.
it was. Hell yeah, it was.
They were coming through the barracks. I never forget Captain Gray at 8th and I. And that was 1986. I remember Captain Gray. And he would look in your room. He came through your room for inspection. He'd look under your water faucet there in the sink. If you had a spot, failed inspection. You were fucking field day on Saturday. Wow. I mean, it was just...
And we complain.
Yeah.
Captain Gray ended up getting relieved because he took it to an extreme. And that was in 87 when the Marine Corps didn't take anything to an extreme. You know?
Oh, wait.
Oh.
In 87, he got relieved?
Oh, yeah.
Which is crazy to me because
Because
anything went back then.
You
Listen.
had one spot on your room and on your sink. You failed the total inspection. You had to come in on Saturday, refill your whole fucking room. It was 2 fingers between the hangers. Your flies better be all facing the same side. The legs better be on the same side. You know.
Whew.
I mean, it was fucking.
Well, where did
But it shaped me
it benefits?
for the man I was going to be later
That's
on.
right. That attention. to
I thought a lot
detail.
about Captain Gray. He got relieved. Then when we got replaced by Captain Whitney III. Now, you only remember people's names, as you know, in the Marine Corps, who make an impact on you.
This is true.
So Captain Whitney III was the other end of Captain Gray, right? So he thought, because everybody at 8th and I are 03s, right?
And they split their time, correct?
Right. So Captain Whitney III wanted to prove to the fleet that the barracks Marines were still as good as fleet Marines. I never forget this because this one hurt a lot more than Captain Gray did. He decided we were going to hump from Washington, D.C. to Harper's Ferry, West Virginia.
Wow.
Shit.
Oh, yeah, right? Now, we're marching parade Marines, or we're used to Corps frame. So we humped to, and we hadn't really done any fleet time as grunts. They took us from SOI, they put us there. So we're humping in November. It's snowing. And every day we would stop wherever we stopped. We bivouac, we did it along the
Freeway.
the canal.
Oh.
What's I forgot what the big canal is that goes from D.C. all the way to West Virginia. It was the one back in the old days that they would do to transport goods up and down, right? So Harper's Ferry, because that's where John Brown and all that, right? So we're going to do this 26 miles or whatever it was. Actually, I'm sorry, it was 75-mile hump, right? Parade Marines who were doing funerals and ceremonies and all that. Actually, I got a funny story for you later. We stopped the first night. It's fucking snow. We're cold our ass. We don't know any better, so we got our feet by the fire, and we're trying to fucking keep dry and all that. Boot laces. I didn't know they were coated in plastic.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They'll cut you.
Yeah.
They'll cut you.
No, what happened was I pulled my boot strings the next day, and they fucking snapped in half where they melted through.
Yeah.
So we humped. The last day, as you know, battalion officers, right? The last day of the 3 days to Harper's Ferry, all the battalion staff are jumping in the front, and people who hadn't done the first 2 days.
They're all fresh.
We're doing 25 miles a day, stopping. They're all fresh. And we went across the big bridge into Harper's Ferry. Then we got on buses and camped. Our feet were all fucked up.
I was going to say moleskin all day.
All day, dude.
Yeah, I didn't know.
No, then you lost some toenails.
Moleskin wasn't invented then.
This is true.
I was bleeding. I remember.
I was bleeding. There was no maxi pads for us back then. I was bleeding.
But you weren't going to fall out.
Oh,
Nothing pissed you off more than the majors and stuff and the battalion staff.
Yeah.
Jumping in there on the last day. S1, S3. And
Let's look good, guys. Like, fucking asshole.
So as a former drill instructor, how do you feel now about these merged? Now they're doing these co-ed platoons, right? So for the first time, I think on the show maybe, we have a female Marine in the room.
Yep, she's hiding over in the corner.
She's trying to hide in the corner.
But as we know in the Marine Corps, a Marine's a Marine, regardless of your gender. You are a fucking Marine. You cross goddamn parade deck. You are a fucking Marine.
So
You
how
know.
do you feel? Like, how do you feel about those platoons being merged, though? So this last, I think they had what I think two or three, a couple cycles back.
Recon.
They had a class. I know. As a matter of fact, this girl was shout out to that prima donna. She was a senior hat for that class. But how do you feel about that as a DI? Do you think it's a distraction having women and men together in the same platoons, training together? Because remember, we've never had the only time I remember in boot camp, I didn't even remember seeing women Marines until we went to the rifle range, right? To go to because we would go to their chow hall.
Right.
I remember having to turn around too. So a drill instructor would
They would be like turn around.
face, and then you weren't even allowed to look at them. As
Oh,
they
no.
would parade, right?
What kind of Muslim shit is that?
That was crazy. Every time they would walk by, it was like, yeah.
That was
face.
Drew.
You know, the world evolves. And we either evolve with what's going on
Well said, yeah.
or we become dinosaurs, right?
But I think it's a distraction. You don't think it's a distraction?
It probably is.
Well, if I was snapping my carrot and I got flash of the moonbeam by
That sounds
a
very
female
sexual,
recruit,
by the way.
I'm
I
just
mean-
like saying,
Could you imagine if we had? Could you imagine we were going through boot camp and we had female Marines in boot camp? You would not be as focused as you were,
Nah.
because those drill instructors had your complete and utter attention during boot camp. There
Right.
was no distractions.
And we didn't get hard-ons.
Exactly.
but now, you may.
At
Exactly.
least now you have a little bit more excuse.
So there was a
But
female staff, it was a female sergeant, I think she was, right?
Yeah.
That she was a 0311, and ended up getting pregnant by one of her subordinates.
It goes back to in receiving to getting received.
Yeah, she got pregnant by one of her subordinates, and they kicked her out of the Marine
All
Corps.
right, this is what I have to say. Agenda-wise, I believe it should be separated, but they should have equal opportunity.
Yeah.
If they want to fight and die for this country, they should be allowed to fight and die for this country
Absolutely, I agree.
in their own separate unit. Because the sexes truly complicate things. They make things much more intricate, and we're talking about having to make last-minute split decisions, that time is a factor, and emotions really need to be subsided, and the greater good has to be sought out. The problem is, I always thought it to be, you have those individuals that are just fall head over heels for motherfuckers. It's not even an open thing, like an agreed upon relationship. It's just, I'm fucking in love with this fucker,
Right.
and I'm gonna do some weird shit to save
Hey,
this
here-
fucker's life that might contradict that of the whole.
But
That's
we
what I'm
talked
saying.
about this last time I was
Yeah.
with you guys with Uncle Steve about the female
Yeah.
that graduated from BRC, from Basic Reconnaissance Course. So I think it's great because it's a barrier that's been crossed. She got no special treatment. I got friends that are instructors out there. She pulled her weight. She made it through that school just like everybody else. And I think it's going to be. Do I think it's going to be tough? I think it's always going to be tough, especially when you're breaking those kind of barriers,
Yeah.
because men are going to question you. Like, do you really belong here?
No, and then if they made it, even at the bare minimum standard, which I'm not trying to take away anything, even if they made it, there's men that haven't made it.
Exactly. So how do you question this woman
I
that's
can't
made
question
it through
that
school?
woman.
And
'Cause
she made it. She
I
gained her
trust,
spot
I
there.
trust, I trust the brothers at the schoolhouse. I trust them. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they had to pass her, it's because they had no other choice but to pass her. That
they
means
said-
she did her
They
thing.
said she made it. Yeah, she
She
made
did
it
her
through.
thing.
She did her thing.
My concern would be, your average 18-year-old Marine is not mature enough
Right.
to deal with a woman. The fact he's got a woman with him, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I
So
agree.
you get distracted, by lack of better terms, the booty.
right.
No, at boot camp, the
If they're
lockdown's
snapping their
on.
carrot and receiving.
Right, I'm just
does
being
take
honest.
it to a whole different level.
So even if she is being professional,
Right.
know,
You're gonna have
because
this kid that's not
yeah,
mature.
18-year-old kid, and
Wet behind the
Right.
ears.
at the
From
boot
some
camp.
from some
Now-
rural place in freaking the U.S. that doesn't have that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now,
Now,
you think
if
about it. We can't, as
Yeah.
men, if we had to have babies, we'd be fucking like the dinosaurs. We'd be extinct. There's no way that we're having fucking babies.
I'd be like,
Not through this
I'd be
fucking
talking to
thing.
the surgeon.
Exactly.
I'd be
Exactly.
telling the surgeon, give me another shot. The baby's coming, give me another fucking shot.
I will say this
What do you
though.
think? What do you think, babe? What do you think?
Yeah,
What do you think?
Well, that's a good point.
You can't
But
be in the
you
room
can't
and not
say
say
it from over
anything.
there. You gotta come over here.
Right.
Come here.
Come on, sit at the table with the big
Tuesday,
boys.
no matter. Come here. Come sit over here.
To that extent,
We're not gonna hear you. You gotta have a microphone.
You gotta come by the microphone. Don't be shy.
You're talking to the microphone.
Say it with your chest. Say it with your chest.
Now, we do know as Marines, women or men, you get treated the fucking same at the table.
Absolutely.
But she's got the tough skin because she's a fucking Marine.
Absolutely.
She's a fucking Marine, just like the rest of us.
So with that, it's implied that, oh, you're a woman, you're in law enforcement, you're in the military, you got there for what reason? If you don't show that you have that initiative, that you have the bond of us sitting here at the table, it's a different scenario. How do you know women Marines, right? What's the bad rep that we get all over the place?
You either become lesbians or walking Am I wrong?
Or they're old ones, right?
I can tell you the Marine Corps did a big house cleaning on that. And what she's directing to, back in the 80s, like if a woman Marine made it somewhere, she's sleeping with everybody.
That's
or-
exactly
right.
what the
And
was
it
applied
was in the
back
late
then.
80s. The Marine Corps did a house cleaning in the mid-90s. I remember, they cleaned out first sergeant majors who's like, I'm a sergeant major, so I can do whatever I want or say whatever I want to a woman Marine or in general. There was a big house cleaning.
And then you see them in the child hall fraternizing with them at the staff SEO tables and shit like that. That shit used to piss me off. I'm like, look at this little ass corporal whore.
And if you were a good-looking woman Marine, you were going to end up at 8th and 9th.
That's how it is. Or
Back in the 80s.
or if you were a good-looking female officer
Yeah.
Marine, you're some general's assistant.
Absolutely.
The Marine Corps wasn't as professional about that, but we were warriors, grunts. We ate fucking rocks, whatever. As
Okay,
grunts.
man.
I can tell you when
We're
I was in
Neanderthals.
the what?
It wasn't
90s,
right, but that's the way
early
it was.
90s.
It wasn't right. I agree.
The women Marines look like Jeff.
Yes.
They look like Jeff.
Some of them look like Paul.
Now they're all hot. There's
Some of
all
them
these
look
hot
like
Marines.
Paul.
Female Marines, you're like, what?
Can I say
Marine Corps?
I look at it from the point of the long game, and let's just say by fucking a long shot, if something was to occur within this nation, what is one demographic that could infiltrate anything?
A woman.
And if you had specialized trained women that are in a unit with loyalty and fidelity, fiduciary responsibility to the United States, and shit happened, they can creep into the highest forms of whatever did take over
Well, look at China.
and snatch some shit up. Am I right?
Look at Israel. Look at Israel. Israel is
They train female snipers.
yeah, but
Yeah, they get
they're
it in.
legit. Like they're freaking. They have women that are like.
Well, because they have conscription, which is after this we have to transition to conscription.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I said that right. Oh my god!
No,
but the truth
conscript.
is, they have conscription. So then, what you see is it's interesting because they are in a high security state of being over there in Israel, Palestine, and all that other
Right.
bullshit,
Yeah.
whole region. So you see women that have done their conscription and now they're like teachers and they're out taking kids on field trips with AR strapped to their back.
Hey, I seen.
But
them
guess
with
what?
wars in
She know
Israel.
how to whip that thing.
Right.
She know how to use that motherfucker to protect those children that she's teaching and educating.
Right.
So that being said, I would like to transition away from the female because I agree with the female training. I don't agree with the commingling of the sexes.
Yeah, I don't either.
I had a
don't
problem
either.
with it in the combat situation, and not because they couldn't deal with combat,
That's
but to me, as a 0311 walking through Fallujah, I'm going to look at her as like my little sister
You
or
have to
something.
protect her.
I
Like,
may
you have
do
to protect her.
something.
That's what I mean. It's not even
Right.
a sexual thing here sometimes. It's I had such a great time with her. She's my little sister. Even though we do that for each other, we still think of the bigger picture. I think in that situation, it'll just leave too much room for an individual
Yeah,
to
and
be
I-
consumed
Because that's
emotionally.
that's
It's not
the
the female
male in
Marine's
you.
fault.
It's
Yeah.
innate in your nature.
You protect
to
women. You
protect your
mother,
woman,
you
woman, you
protect
protect
your
your mom,
sister,
your
yeah.
sister. So it's
That-
innate
that-
in your
that's
nature.
also
I
male.
looked at males and I'm like, listen, I got this. They're like, oh, you're little, you're small, let me help you. I'm like, no, don't worry about it.
And that's unsolicited.
Right.
That's unsolicited.
It is.
Yeah.
And then
Usually
on
is.
the
Like
other
she
end-
checks me. She's like, babe, like she'll grab all our bags like a little pack mule and shit. She'll be like, I got this, and I'll be like, give me one. No, I got this. And I'm like, all right, fuck it.
Like the guys in the wheelchair. I don't need your help. But before we transition, I really, really want to get your input. What do you feel about the crossing of the genders?
I think it's horrible. I don't think it's a good idea.
And you're not saying that because, we're cool with you and you think that's what we want to hear. I just want it honestly.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's a bad idea. With us as women, I mean, there were 7, 8 of us in one squad bay, and we had to make it work. And let me tell you, tensions were tight, but
I
just
would
like
not
it.
want to be in that squad. But
And at the end, you come through for the common good, the common cause, and you make it work. It's a different different mindset. You know, we all have one as males, females. We all have that one common goal, but in a pack mentality, you know, think about it. Females packs, we do our thing, and males in your packs, you do the other. You know, so.
All right, to digress a little bit because I'm a Marine, do you guys really like sink in with your menstruation? That's a thing?
That's the thing.
That's terrible that we were thinking the same thing. By phase 3, it's a terrible day in the.
I know.
So
Do these cameras make me look fat?
So I can attest to that.
It is fucked up.
my
We
dude.
thought that. It is fucked up. We all thought that.
Okay,
It is.
He said it.
Thank you. You're a valued member of this family.
And I can attest to that because I have 3
You
daughters.
do not bleed, Paulie.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
But I have 3 daughters and I have my wife. And they're at the age where they finally, matured into young women. And the house, first it was hell because it was like, there's 4 weeks, there's 4 women, and it was just like 1 week after the other.
And it's just you and your son
And just me and
against
my son
them.
hiding.
Yeah.
But now everybody's on the same page. Everybody's on the
Do it the same week.
Same week.
So Paulie plans like shooting courses during that week.
Yes. I do shooting courses.
So I'm glad you're here this week with us.
I didn't say it.
I take my son, I drop him off at grandma's, and we just
For his own safety.
For his own safety. And he's 6. He's
That's a good call,
pain in
dude.
the ass,
Poor
bro.
guy.
My wife has 4 daughters. When they come over, it's helmets and flak jackets and fucking bayonets.
It's just you in the room locked up. Like,
For me.
what's going on out there?
Sand,
Bivouacking in the barn.
Yeah.
sandbags come out.
Desperate Housewives of Atlanta. That's what's going on. Okay. So conscription, guys, conscription. I am a fucking believer in conscription, and I feel that the reason why we're at this table, the reason why we can call ourselves a true, untainted melting pot. Like, in other words, no one has any advantage coming into the Marine Corps.
No, they
It
don't.
doesn't matter what
Absolutely
color
not.
you are.
Does not.
No.
And that honestly produces us to where it doesn't matter. We cross genders, we cross ages,
Right.
but we treat each other with the same dignity and respect because we know I can attest to your upbringing.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever asked somebody in the Army when the Army's birthday is? Or asked somebody in the Navy? Half the time, they don't even know when the fuck it is.
We have a birthday.
I did it. I was at the old guard, and I said, hey, when's the Army's birthday? And they were like, they're all looking at each other like, oh, do you know? Like, I'm like, you can, and I go like, watch this. There was a guy who was out of the Marine Corps for over 30 years. I was like, hey, come here for a second, bud. I was like, when's the Marine Corps birthday? He was like, here he goes. And they were like,
And he went UA and everything. Yeah, he's still
was
doing
like,
it.
I was
I was UA 30 years and I noticed.
and he didn't even skip
Still
a beat.
celebrates.
He didn't
I still show up to the Marine Corps birthday.
Exactly. He didn't even skip a beat. I was like, and that's the difference between us and you. Is that we have this pride, this sense of pride
Huh?
in our Marine Corps.
Burn on that.
Oh, the paper.
Yeah, I mean, we have this sense of pride in the Marine Corps
flavor.
that it transitions. That I mean, it. How do you even put it? I didn't even know how to describe it. Like
Fuck, that hurts.
if you see somebody who was in the Marine Corps, automatically we have this
Bond.
bond, this brotherhood.
Absolutely.
Well, I would say that that's in part due to gentlemen such as First Sergeant Granger
Absolutely.
and the men that came before him that harped on the attention to detail, knowing that at base root, that is the most important lesson any Marine could learn.
Absolutely.
Is pride and 100% in what they're doing in the now.
Well, these
that's
guys
one
are
thing we learned,
responsible.
yeah.
Like these guys, you think about it, everything that's been instilled in you, right? It's like these guys take you from an infant, right? In the Marine Corps, these drill instructors take you, they break you down, and they build you back up. So you're like an infant, and these guys, to this day, I could say ears, and you're gonna say what?
Open.
Open.
Sir.
Right? Like no, and it's without hesitation. I say eyeballs, you're gonna be like, snap. Exactly. Like these guys instill these things in you that, you know what, they will always be embedded in your memory bank for the rest of your life.
And I can tell you, man, we would have a different country if
Absolutely.
we brought every 18-year-old to PI or San Diego and go through that and follow our friends in Israel, where everybody serves 2 years. And they learn the history of your country. They learn the benefits of serving your country. I mean, it would just be an amazing thing. I can tell you that there wouldn't be burning in the streets, there wouldn't be rioting in the streets, there would be a whole different perspective on what this
There'll be a
country's
sense
all
of
about.
pride.
Yeah, sense of pride of being an American. I don't think there's 50% of the population I feel that don't have that sense of pride, and or more, and they would benefit from serving our country. They would find that perspective that would just bring a whole different idea of
Love of God, country, and
Absolutely.
poor.
why they live here.
Absolutely.
I
I think if you want to burn a flag, then you know what? You should have served this country.
Right.
And then you come in and you realize, you know what? If you still want to burn a flag after you serve this country, more power to you.
Right.
But
You earned that right.
You earned that right.
Now, let me tell you from a drill instructor point of view. Now, obviously, after I got back from Desert Storm, is when I went to the drill field, right? We dropped shitload of recruits back in those days, you know, and I totally agree with what y'all are saying. But the Marine Corps, you want that guy that wants to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because the heart that we have at this table doesn't come from forcing somebody to join. It comes from I want to be not in the Army, the Air Force, Navy. And I'm not taking away from those guys. It's like I want to be that cut above.
Right.
You know, at the base of that, First Sergeant, it's that knowing that you're a part of a legacy that would always be remembered and honored through your brothers. It doesn't take an outside perspective to give you credence. We give ourselves credence.
Yeah.
And so we go above and beyond because I know for years to come, my brothers will be heralding my name.
Oh, yeah. And we carry, as we get into later tonight, here in the barn, what we carry, you're not going to get from that guy who was forced to go in.
I agree with
But-
you. And
Yeah.
to your perspective of what you said at the inception of this interview and podcast, it was a calling for you. And I feel it's a calling for every Marine.
God marks us. God marks us before birth that
Absolutely.
you're going to be a Marine.
Absolutely.
And people don't know that. We don't know why. You are marked before birth. This is going to be one of God's warriors. Whatever your God is irrelevant. Right?
Yeah.
You are going to be marked as God's warrior. You're going to get
You
the
want it more
shield.
than most.
You're going to get the fucking sword, and you're going to go the fuck out
Yeah,
there.
there are plenty
Yeah.
easy routes to still serve your country if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
But I think every Marine who signs a contract has heard every horror story of what it takes to become a Marine and serve your country. You want to go through that so that you
Yeah.
can claim that title. It's not given; it's earned.
You want it to be hard.
You want to be hard. And,
There was
it's a calling.
platoons I dropped so many recruits. You know, with Mothers of America, who ruined a lot of good stuff in the Marine Corps. And I will say that the Marine Corps adapted to that. Where you go with the men and women, the Marine Corps will have a plan for that, right? There's conscripts, and it's not really conscripts. It's mixing them in a way. The Marine Corps will have a plan better than any other service on how to do that, right? But it's the person who wants to be the force recon of all the armed services. That's the Marine Corps. Okay, you know what conscript them to the Army, or the Navy, or the Air Force, but the ones who truly want to be will become Marines, because there's a lot of traditions, there's a lot of things that we have to carry on beyond showing up every day at formation.
I was just
as a
going
Marine.
to comment on
Yeah.
that. Traditions are an incredible part of our history
Yeah.
and who we are as Marines, and that's why even 30 years after being in the Corps, I love being part of the birthday celebration that we had, telling other Marines happy birthday, calling it out for what it is. It's the traditions that we learn at boot camp.
Yeah.
That's instilled in us. It's part of our thread, our fabric of who we are as we mature and grow older. And
Mothers of America would sit there, oh, they're screaming at the pork. If a recruit, it all has a purpose. It all has a purpose. People outside the circle don't understand it. I'm yelling at a recruit. I'm in his fucking face, right? And he's making no decisions. And now guess what? A second drill instructor is going to show up, right?
right.
Oh, now there's going to be
Put that
two
pressure.
in your face. I've had recruits totally collapse right there.
I think I saw a vein just pop up.
Right.
Right in your neck. Because they saw that vein.
They can't make a decision, right? Two people screaming. That's the chaos of war.
Fog of war.
We are saying, make a decision. You're not going to be right regardless.
Yeah.
So as a recruit, whichever one has the most fucking stripes on the sleeves, go with the fuck he's
Eat it.
right?
Eat it, yeah.
When the bullets are flying in
Follow that
Fallujah
bang.
and you're behind that fucking wall log, whatever, and the bullets are getting fucking closer, and they're zeroing in on you, make a fucking decision.
Absolutely.
And as a recruit, if you cannot make a decision with two people screaming, I'm just going to do what he says, you're not going to do it in fucking combat.
That's right.
And that's what we as drill instructors are trying to decide. This guy is not going to make it in combat. I'm not going to put him in that situation on the streets of Fallujah. Because if you can't make a decision right here with someone screaming, you know, we're not.
You bring up a good point.
Yeah.
Combat, right?
Yeah.
Your sergeant gets hit and is down. Who's coming up, right? The next rank. It's coming up to take over and start commanding that squad, you know, that fire team.
Succession of command.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's incredibly important. And you get instilled that at boot camp from a drill instructor who's yelling at you. And then the second drill instructor, right? Because that's causing you to understand what it is to be in chaos.
And when you're in a team, how many individuals above that of your pay grade should you know the job of?
Right.
What's
Right.
the number?
Right.
They say two.
Yeah.
Two levels above
Two
you need to
levels
know
above
his
his
job
job,
and
yeah,
down
exactly.
because
And one level
things
down.
happen
I'll
like
tell
that.
you what, man. When I got in my shooting, when I got into my big the fatal shooting, I had to shoot those two guys. I remember my fucking drill instructor, Staff Sergeant Al. He was our senior, and he had this thing he would always say. He would always say, "Always in the fight." You understand that?
Yeah.
He would say, "Always in the fight," and that fucking played in my head. Played in my head. I was like, listen, I'm fucking hit, but you know what? I'm always in the fight. And I remember that from my drill instructor instilling that in my head. I was like, listen, if I'm going out fucking fighting. Those are these things that these guys teach you and they don't realize, you know what I mean? Like, you'll see that guy, a drill instructor, and it's so funny, man, because as an adult, being out of the fucking Marine Corps for years, right? I remember going down, I had a buddy of mine, Nicholas Walker, he was a Vietnam recon Marine, another black Marine, recon Marine. And
2 unicorns?
yeah, 2 unicorns in one office.
Crazy.
Guy, you know, he died from cancer.
unheard of.
He died from liver cancer
Rest his soul.
because of like Agent Orange and all this other shit. But
Hold on, it's been too long for the brother.
Yeah, for the brother. For the second unicorn.
God bless.
God bless.
God bless.
We're in the barn. Rob?
In the barn, we're
So-
drinking with the boys, with them.
Jeff, I don't even know why you're out of screen. You should just.
His head won't fit.
so he
Jeff is scared.
You're out of screen.
Come here.
You gotta be near.
I was just going to say, quick advertisement. As Marines, we love sheep.
Love it.
Hey, or at least the grunts do. Hey,
So-
40 countries later,
It's a thing.
their heads are there.
so that I forgot what was I talking. So
Your first shooting.
no, so I went.
you
I
drank
remember when
his
he was
blood.
passing away, right? I made this paddle for him. Yeah, I mean that guy, and he was in the hospital, and I remember going to the hospital. And I walk in the room with this paddle. This guy's got stage 4 cancer. He's gonna die. Like they gave him like 2-3 weeks to live, and he died 2 weeks after that. And I walk in the room with this paddle, and he just fucking broke into tears. And everybody walked out of the room and gave us the room. And he was like, "You don't know what this means to me." I said, "Dude,
has he ever got a paddle?
never. Never got one." So that's why.
I know what he feels like.
So I took it, right? I took this fucking paddle on like a fucking world tour. I took it to Paris Island, and I'd have people from his fucking battalion. It's like he was a 2nd Battalion Marine too. Had them sign his fucking paddle. Had all these other recon Marines sign the paddle. And then once I was done with it, I drove up to fucking Maryland. I gave it to his widow. But I remember going to Paris Island and going to 2nd Battalion. They had just picked up, dude. Like they just picked up the company.
Wow, they just.
And these fucking drill instructors were like, they looked like they were like 12 years old. It was fucking crazy to me. Like, so I'm standing there talking to them, and I went with my boy Michael, who's another recon Marine, and we're standing there talking to these drill instructors at attention, and then we look at each other like, what the fuck are we doing? I'm like, I'm old enough to be this kid's dad. But it's that sense of respect that they command, right? Yeah. Like I'm standing there, I'm a grown ass man. I'm old enough to be these kids' dad, and I'm standing there.
But
at
you're
attention.
locked up.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
locked. My whole body's locked up.
Isa.
And then we look at each other. We're like, what are we doing? But that is the level of respect that these guys command, man. Like it's amazing. And I think people don't realize the sacrifice that drill instructors make.
Every
Like
day.
it's every day. That's an all day, every day. They spend more time with you than they spend with their families. On the deck.
It'll be not uncommon to hear drill instructors having marital arguments over the phone from
Oh.
the head shed. Because we know that
Just
thing.
as you said, you took what your drill instructor instilled in you and everybody in the Marine Corps to the law enforcement side of it when you're first shooting.
Right.
So everything that the first sergeant said before, you're marked, right, when you're born. We're all here for a purpose. When it's our time, it's our time. But you take everything you learned from the Marine Corps, break it down through everything else you've done in the Corps, right? And you bring it back to your life. You apply it to your life, right?
Absolutely.
Just as if, like you said, that experience with your first shooting. We had that SWAT explosion where right when the shit hit the fan and the place blew up and all the guys' rounds got blown off their vests, the rounds started cooking off. That brought me right back to Fallujah, where we had the incident where a bunch of our guys, had an incident. But 2 weeks left when we had there, we pull up to a Humvee and the rounds were cooking off inside. So I knew at that point to move the medevac, not to where they were, to the back end of the road, away from the explosion and the rounds that were cooking off, to safely get these guys out. So everything you guys talk about and what you're instilled in the Marine Corps and what you learn, it serves as a purpose as you carry on the rest of your life. And that's
It
what you carry
transcends
on.
at every level as a
Absolutely.
civilian.
Of your life.
Of your life. Because you can take it and embrace it and run with all those skills and knowledge, right? And stay in the fight. You're engaged with everything you do, and you take those skills and you can run circles around some civilians because they don't have those same traits and skills.
Well, look
and
at you,
fabric.
man. Look at you. Like in your business. Look at you. Like you went into this business, and people don't have this dude is the fucking shit. Like he runs this fucking company, $1 million company, right? And it's because this dude has the work ethic of
Wait a
a
minute.
fucking.
We know a millionaire.
You see that fucking Porsche pull up outside your house?
It's like Forrest Gump on the fence. We were sitting next to a billionaire.
Hey,
I feed my wife MREs and I know a millionaire.
hey, look here. He let me drive that Porsche.
I know. I'm just saying.
I drove it.
I'm just saying.
Dream like this, Princess.
Exactly.
I woke up and I think I still own the car.
I mean, you have a different kind of work ethic.
It's our mentality
Right.
where you can run circles around people if you really want to.
I call it the P. Diddy work ethic. Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop.
Shout out to my bro, Sean Nguyen.
Sean.
In both cases,
Guess I was-
in all cases, the odd thing about the Marines is we kill better than anybody, and we die better than anybody.
That makes me proud to hear that. That's like not a lie. It's not a lie.
It's not lying.
We die
I'm okay
better
with
than
that.
anybody.
I'm
And
okay
that's
with that,
part
first
of what the
off.
barn is. We'll get into that later, but it's
I want to say before we pivot off of conscription, I want to end it. How many of you individuals serve with people that weren't U.S. citizens?
We had a guy in boot camp, came to the United States in a box from Cuba. A box from Cuba.
Are you serious?
That's how he got here.
Wow.
Just to get his citizenship.
Not serious.
That's so when you talked about before
Fine.
conscription,
You know I'm with JD.
cornbread motherfuckers from the South to Yankees from New England,
I'm
people
from the
from all
South.
over.
my cornbread. You called the first sergeant cornbread motherfucker.
Not directly, I digress.
First off, you're over 6 foot, so I would love to say this because I'm not a Marine no more, but go fuck yourself. Coming from a short motherfucker, okay? You're corn fed. I wish I was corn fed. I'm Maï fed.
Wait till you hit 50.
Island fed.
Island fed, yeah.
Island fed. Wait till you hit 50, and that Puerto Rican 5'9" turns into Puerto Rican 5'8". Because you shrink,
you
baby.
start fucking shrinking.
Osteoporosis. Oh my God, Lordy! But listen, I had a couple of friends, Dominican. They weren't citizens, but they get launched to the head of the application process for citizenship, and to me, that was so freaking honorable. Like they came to this country illegally, and then signed up for the military. Like you know the immense set of balls it requires for someone to say, I'm illegal, but I'm going to go see if I could do this anyway. Do you know how much courage that takes?
Oh, no. I got a dude that I was in boot camp with. He was the oldest guy in our platoon. His name was Ayala, right?
He's about 90 now.
The guy owned a construction company with his wife. This guy would get checks, $40,000 checks, and I'm like, why is his wife sending him checks?
How many millionaires does he know?
And the guy, he went in the Marine Corps on a bet. He lost a Super Bowl fucking bet. And he bet the dude he would join the Marine Corps.
I done heard it all.
And he bet the dude he would join the Marine Corps.
And he had a successful, illustrious career.
And he lost the bet and went in the Marine Corps. The dude was just he was 30. I think he was 34 at the time.
Wow, he's
Wow.
old.
So his shit would be he would wear his hat cocked to the side like this.
Yo, he had gambling
He be like
problems,
this.
bro.
He be like this recruit, Private Ayala. He be like this motherfucker, dude. Right?
I would say
But
a lot
stand-up
of Super Bowl bet between Carolina Panthers and New England Patriots would got my ass in fucking Connecticut.
You thought Cam Newton was gonna do it, huh?
No, this was like back when.
Oh shit! Before Cam?
Oh yeah, when they
damn.
played. Carolina should have won that fucking game. It was 33-31, I think, way back. This is way before Cam Newton. This was that.
What do you feel about Cam going to New England right now?
Hey,
What up?
I can tell we didn't lose anything.
That's fucked up.
Not that Bridgewater's doing anything for us, but you know, sorry to interrupt, but it's that
Sorry,
damn
sorry.
bet. I was down at Camp Lejeune. Carolina was playing New England. We had Delhomme, Jake Delhomme, and Smith. And Smith, 33-31, I think was the final score. We lost because they had videotape and all that shit that fucking Belichick was doing with the Jets.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So I ended up, actually, it worked out for me, though. It worked out for me being up here in New England. Got the barn, got
No, we're here.
all you fucked up individuals.
I say, listen.
You derelicts.
So I just want to I want to
I told NJP here.
Yeah, no, I'm good. First songs like that shit. Y'all like giving office hours. Y'all love some office hours.
We may do one before the end of the night.
But Paulie, he's nasty, not me.
Paulie being quiet over there, that's the one you gotta watch
Oh,
out.
I know he's scary.
I think you're gonna be.
So to pivot back to pivot back to this killer right here, I just want to highlight when he came into the Marine Corps, he went to 8th and I. And how many funerals you would say you proceeded over at 8th and I?
I mean, I'd be guessing, but probably at least 100. I mean, because in 2 years,
It's very important to say how many years in the Marine Corps were you while you were just actually exposed to this?
I mean, I went from SOI to 8th and I.
Not even a year.
even when you came back, you were doing the
You were doing the calls and
Doing
knocks.
the
Well,
calls,
this is
knocks.
my point. And then from there, combat.
Right.
As a leader, as a first sergeant, as a staff sergeant, as a whatever. Like several, how many infantry units?
Oh, 2-8, 3-2 a few times, 1-5.
You've been around.
Yeah.
So he's seen the chaos, the calamity. They're on through several units, transitioning in between, and then he gets out. I'm talking to you in third person right now. Then he gets out.
Let me tell you the
And
worst.
when you get out, what do you do when you get out?
Let me
this
tell you
shit
this.
is serious.
The worst job I ever had in the Marine Corps. And I love the Corps. I mean, as I said before, you were born with the Eagle Globe and ink on your heart. You don't know it. God puts it on your heart at birth, and you're going to be a Marine. You don't know it because you're wearing diapers or whatever. You are destined to be a fucking Marine. All right? You're one of God's warriors, regardless of your God. Right?
You want a God's warriors, baby.
When I came back from the invasion of Iraq in 2003, and the recruiter and the monitor called me and said, "Hey, you're going." First, he said I was going to New Hampshire. Like, fuck that shit. I am not going to that cold ass shit. I did lose the Patriots game. My ex at the time, who was my wife, was from Connecticut.
Yo,
They had-
football be fucking people live
Yeah.
up.
That's why I don't watch it. I do a good job of fucking my shit up myself. I don't need football. In my life.
The monitor, who's moving you around, as you know. He's like, "Oh, you've been at Camp Lejeune too long. You've been homestead." Like, motherfucker, I'm a grunt. I have not. My wife's been homesteading at Camp Lejeune, but I haven't been homestead. I haven't been there. Right? I've been to Okinawa 3 times. And,
That ain't easy.
Yeah.
The real question is, how many times do you go to the Thunderbird?
Thunderbird, brown bagger, baby.
That's how you know you're old if you don't know about the Thunderbird. Or that's old.
brown
Camp
bagger, and, all the ones right outside the gate there. But, he called me. He's like, "Oh, you been homesteading Camp Lejeune?" I'm like, "How can you? I've been deployed I've been to 40 fucking countries. I've been everywhere but North Carolina, you know.
I was recruited out of North Carolina, Center, California.
I was like, give my wife orders up there, you know.
Yeah.
She's been here. And
Send her off.
they're like, we're going to give you a break. You know, you on invasion of Iraq, blah, blah. We're going to give you a break. We're going to send you Charlie Company. Well, they're going to send me to New Hampshire. I was like, no, I'll take Connecticut, you know, infantry company. I'm an infantry mind. I can't deal with anything outside that, you know. Send me to Connecticut. Infantry unit, Charlie Company, these guys, right?
Nasty.
But what they didn't tell me was the biggest fucking secret is when you're on the I-9 duty, you're the one that's got to tell the fucking families. Never mention, hey, we're in war, and you and the captain are going to be the ones knocking on the fucking doors. I would go to the war. 100 times over. Before I knock on that fucking door. The mom opens the door. And her eyes. Lock with your eyes. And she sees your uniform.
No.
And all of a sudden she goes from like, oh, who's at the door? To she fucking knows. Like that. The Marine Corps never told me that shit.
They don't train you for that shit.
No.
That's the one thing they don't train
You
you
come
for.
up here and next thing you know, it's like, you get a call from headquarters of the Marine Corps before anybody fucking knows. Before anybody fucking knows. They call you. And if the parents are together, it's easier. Right. Which is not easier. If the parents are separated, divorced, whatever, they could be anywhere. You're coordinating with another team. Pennsylvania, wherever the dad lives. And the mom's here, or vice versa. You're like, are you there yet? Have you found the house? Are you set to go? And you're going to knock on that door at the exact same time, no matter where they're in the country. Dads are sad. The moms.
Just as you said, you're stamped from birth from the Marine Corps with the Eagle Golden Anchor on your heart. You were stamped to do the job you did there, and they couldn't pick a better person to do those things.
I totally agree with that, brother.
In and out, and past that, you carry on what you did overseas, and with everybody back home here. So you're stamped with that on your heart from conception. You were stamped with that to do that job. And there was no better person to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's even deeper than that because you had to prepare them. You had to prepare the bodies and all that for when the parents had to come and see them and all that. It's a huge fucking burden.
The headquarters Marine Corps calls you. The public doesn't know. You just heard on the internet another Marine died in Iraq. No one knows who it is. So every mother's on TV wondering, is it my son or whatever, So you show up at that door. Me and Captain Letendre, who's on my freaking wall, because he ended up getting killed in Iraq as well. You knock on that door. The body's still somewhere between Iraq and Jersey, The body comes into Jersey. Those people prep the body so fucking perfect. So fucking perfect. Then when you go to the airport, when you're constantly with headquarters, you're constantly on the phone. The parents, I'm going back, I was like, here's the insurance, here's your SGLI, I'm covering everything, we got the funeral covered.
You had to take care of all that, too.
Oh, yeah, we do it all.
You were the liaison.
We were the guy.
You were the point.
Right.
From the Marine Corps to the family.
I would go to Bradley International Airport, and I had this thing. There was these guys in Connecticut who had these trucks with all the flags on them. They were civilians, but they had all the flags. And the first time I went to the airport to get one, and I remember Coulard. Coulard was the first one I went to the airport for. And when you die, you go from being a person to property. And there's actually a pink slip for you. Yeah. You are a piece of property, and you belong to the next of kin, right? I go to the airport, I get the pink slip and all the paperwork. I take the Marines, and I used to invite these 4 trucks. They had all the flags on them. And the first time the Highway Patrol said, you can't take those trucks on the tarmac to Bradley. I said, those trucks are part of my escort. Because the guy coming back was going to have all those flags. Everybody going down the highway was going to fucking know if somebody who died in combat was coming home.
Hero here.
Right?
Yeah.
So I would take all those trucks out to the freaking tarmac. We'd go right to the American Airlines or whatever it is. My Marines would line up in their dress blues at the bottom of the conveyor belt. I would crawl up the conveyor belt. I'd go in there, pull the cardboard off the casket. I'd lay the flag out, make sure, it's all set correctly, and send that fucking casket down, and all those trucks and everybody in there, people in the airport looking. And we'd load the body into the casket. The family was there, the mother usually. And then we'd head across the airport and out the gate, down the highway to the funeral home. Now I get to the funeral home, like everything in transport, things move, things shift. I would open the casket at the funeral. Nobody would be there but me. I didn't want my Marines to see it, to deal with it, whatever. I opened the casket. I made sure that uniform was fucking perfect. Anything that happened in transport, Coulard, great Marine, shot through the head. I made sure at the funeral home that the pillows were up so you couldn't see the bandages. You couldn't see where he took the round through the head. In different scenarios on every one of them. And I made sure that body was perfect. And then I would, with the funeral director, say, all right, you can let the fucking families in to see these guys, I would stand by that mother freaking the entire time as everybody came through the lines, down the streets and all that. There was bodies that were crushed. Bodies that every bone in there was broke where we didn't want to open the caskets. But the families sometimes need that for closure. They need that. And there's things about bodies you find out, and some of y'all police officers, so when a person dies, however he died, wherever he was bruised or whatever, that stays permanently, the bruises, the stitches,
all that stays, yeah.
They're, these funeral homes are trying to form the bodies as perfectly as they can for the families. That's the families. Please just put a picture of him on a casket. Let's not open it. And the families would need it for closure, and people would see it and they're passing out. The grandmothers are passing out. And you're there with that Marine. I'm standing by the casket. Make sure people don't touch him. Well, why is his hand tucked underneath his leg? And it's because we put gloves and we fix them onto bones that were left, and we treated everyone like he was my kid, because he's somebody's kid.
That is the heaviest pack that you had to carry for
And that carried on to Fallujah, Camp Fallujah, what you did with every one of our KIAs over there. And when I got blown up over there, I had an incident. They said, hey, do you want to go see Pearson? And I took offense to it. I took a lot of offense to it, but not knowing what you did with the CO on every one of our KIAs, you went and visited them before they went home.
I went into the freezer truck. They had the big freezer. The bodies were in there. We went in there and talked to them at Fallujah. I went through all their personal belongings. I packed them up and sent them to Jersey, to Dover, Made sure all the, we're Marines. We got porn pictures or whatever pictures. I went through all the stuff. If it had blood on it, it wasn't getting shipped. I burned it.
You are the epitome of what a staff NCO is supposed to be. A leader, a fucking true leader. The epitome of that.
Not everybody's willing to take the brunt of that emotion, that energy. Let me tell you, I sit here right now, I can't do it. I'm looking at my life right now, and this shit that I don't want to do, that's just like trivial compared to that. Like for you to accept that responsibility, it's also necessary because once again, it goes into us knowing we won't be forgotten. And to me, that is the most important thing, because who the fuck will go into a fight with the energy and the emotion needed to win that fight without knowing that at all costs you will be remembered. But the person that has to do that, that's a lot.
It's like we talked. It's like we talked last night. I mean,
his speech at the birthday. We were ready to go to the parking lot.
Top and I talked. We talked last night, and I said, "Listen, man. When you take on so much, and you do this, like before I came up here, I had a kid that I brought into this program that I'm a mentor in. His mom reached out to me, and she was like, I haven't spoken to him in 3 days, and she was like, I just want to go check on him, and I went to his house, called the cops, so they can go into his house, and I went in there and we found him. He OD'd. His mom was outside the house. And I went in the house and I found this kid with the cops with a needle in his fucking arm. And it's like I told Top, I said, listen, man, I said, you put so much effort into helping other people. But how do you, at some point in your time, you have to be able to release your burdens. Because you got your own demons. Like these are fucking demons that he's got to deal with.
It's a huge burden, man. You carry that for the rest of your life.
And I think part of that is, I think you put it the best way. You're like, we get together every fucking quarter.
Once a quarter.
Like once a quarter, and we
need it though.
This is our therapy. It's our therapy. Like I think we get together and it's so therapeutic for all of us. I mean, because we all have our shit that we go through. Yeah, I mean,
we all carry our burdens.
It's necessary. Like I needed it. I needed to come in here and be with my brothers, and just not have to worry about anything, not think about anything. Not stress, and just
you're good.
Yeah, and I know I'm good. I know I'm good. Like I know I'm good. I know that.
You're home. Wherever we are, you're home.
Exactly.
Let me tell you this. When I was at Lance Corporal at 8th and I, burying bodies at Arlington, and you're like, and I say we were born with that ego love and anchor on our hearts before we even fucking knew. When we were wearing diapers, we already had it fucking burned on our hearts. And then my destiny was this, not by choice. Among the warriors, there's some that God picks for other duties, right? It's our burden to carry. And I look backwards now. I say at Arlington, I was burying these guys, and I didn't fathom. But I was on a different road, by God and the Marine Corps, that I was going to be burying them all along my fucking path, And at the end, as a first sergeant, packing up their stuff, and we put stuff in the burn pit. Their flak jackets that were all fucking covered with blood for Cosgrove. Cosgrove's he was just blood everywhere. I was like, his parents aren't going to see that, and then coming back, before that and after, telling the parents, I think it was destined. I had to carry that extra burden.
And there's that ripple. Effect as well. As when somebody dies, as well as we had it last night, and his platoon sergeant was with us, who carries the burden of that every day on those decisions. So you have the ripple effect of how they pass, and he carries that on his heart every time. And he said last night when we had that toast with that Kevlar, that Rory was with us last year, who had the same Kevlar. He said, I got invited to a Marine Corps party last year, and that's what saved me. And JD, you said, right? You said, this is my first invite to a Marine Corps party since I've been out.
Since I've been out. I'm telling you, I'm the type, I'm going to say it, as tasteless as it may sound, but I feel personally like my time in service wasn't really appreciated by those that I served with. So I understand where your boy, on his deathbed, when you gave him that paddle, to me, that's like just completing the cycle, full circle. It's almost recognition from your brothers, you know what I mean? So, because that's all that matters. That's all you care about. Your years could go after. You know, you can be successful doing what the fuck you want, but you don't get that recognition from your brothers, and that's important because that's what we live for. And that's what First Song is doing. And like I said, at the end of it all I need to know is my name gonna continue?
Like, I mean, I think you had to go through everything you went through on your journey to get to where you're at right now. Like you said. I mean, listen, man. The VA send people to you. The VA says, listen, we got this guy. He's got this going on. We're gonna send him to the barn. That says a lot, man. Like, we can't do anything for you, but we're gonna send you to somebody that's gonna do it for you.
That's because they don't understand us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
They don't understand us.
Exactly.
And I mean, we're a completely different breed. But veterans as a whole, VA, the government, they don't understand us. And civilians most definitely don't understand us. We've had this conversation multiple times.
Now, how you guys started this conversation?
We don't even understand.
This is a sacred.
We know more than anybody else, though. I'll tell you that much.
This is a sacred place, and this is why we bring guys here and I pass it along, and you don't understand it until you come here. And when you come
I agree.
here, it encapsulates.
You feel it.
Yeah. It was like my first time coming here. It was like
You
I
were
was
you were
blown away.
voluntold.
I was voluntold to come out here. I was like, oh, yeah. He tells me about the barn. Come out. You know, the whole story. We've got photos of brothers that we've lost. We get together. We have a conversation. We drink with them. I was like, oh, that sounds great. Sure, let's go. Got here, and the whole, just when you walk through the door, you get a completely
got
different
goosebumps,
feeling. You
man.
get
You guys-
goosebumps.
you guys
I got
had the same
goosebumps.
thing.
And you're like, I want to be a part of whatever's going on here. Whatever I can do to support it. Whatever I can do to bring other brothers here and shine some light, because it is healing.
It's church.
It's church.
It's fucking church, dude.
Every single time we come here, I mean, photos are presented. I mean, we lost a brother in May
Yeah.
who took his own life, and he's on our wall today. And it's like, it's healing. It's good knowing that he's at home here, because I got the best guy looking over him.
Absolutely.
The best guy.
The
I was
best
gonna
guy.
say that.
Looking
Hands
over.
fucking down.
And
Yeah,
that's
fucking
what
down.
that to me was the most apparent thing when I was brought here, and I saw what was happening, and I said, "Holy shit!" I never knew it until then, but this is necessary, and I would not entrust anyone else other than First Song for this. Yo, really, First Song,
Yeah.
yo.
I remember
This is
walking in the
special.
first
This
time
is
coming to the
beautiful.
barn, and I walk in, and I saw another fucking dark green fucking recon Marine. And I said, holy shit, that's Horsehead. And he knew right then. He was like, well, you fucking know him, because I called him Horsehead. And he always just, I felt like I was like, fuck, I'm in the right place, man.
I'm home.
I'm home.
You were meant to come here.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
took guys here right off the fucking battlefield who came home and didn't know how to adjust to life. And when he had the other barn, which wasn't far from here, we brought them there, and it was an epiphany. You know, that's why everybody I can share this with you guys, and you guys come here, it's important that I get this out, and you come here, and you can't explain it till you actually come here.
No, because I remember the first time we were going to come. And it's funny because I remember when we came the first time, one of the dogs was a puppy.
Right.
Right? You know what I mean? And I remember the first time we were like fucking hungover and drunk. We were coming out. We're trying to come with every fucking
Speak for
excuse.
yourself.
Stop fucking lying. I'm laying on one couch, she's laying on the other couch. I'm like, we're like this. Do we gotta go to the fucking barn? Fuck, man.
Ray selling calendars at the market.
That's right. You were selling fireman fucking calendars.
We appreciate you being conscious while you were here.
We had to bring
And dude, and we came here, and I was like, I'm so fucking glad that I came here. Like it was one of those feelings. Like you ever go to church and you walk out and you're like, damn, that fucking message that the fucking priest or the pastor was fucking preaching was for me. Like, did he fucking write this with me in mind today?
Right.
That's how you walk out of here feeling. You feel like you walk in here like,
I'm a barn lobbyist.
So that being said, Jay, you know, you talked about people remembering your name. We both brought a photo here.
Yeah.
To put up on the wall.
Well, the reason we brought the photo here is because this is what First Song requires for the remembrance of these devil dogs, and not only Marines.
Yeah.
You also do other individuals as well, Army soldiers and sailors as well, correct?
Absolutely. We take care of any Gold Star family here. You know what I'm saying? It's not, we as Marines, the other services, and I don't take anything away from them, they don't do it the same way we do it. But you know what? That Army,
You gotta say it.
that Army guy, that sailor,
keep,
whatever.
We can't keep walking on thin ice here. We gotta say it.
Yeah.
I will acknowledge the United States Marine Corps prides itself on its legacy. That's it. And its legacy is anything that came before who we are here now.
We take care of their families,
That's
right? I'm gonna tell you, when I went through all this shit, and you know, and I questioned the fuck out of God. I'm just tell you straight up. And I'm not a churchgoer and all that stuff, you know. I questioned the fuck out of God, like, why are you putting me through this? Why do I carry this burden? You know, of notifying families and sending their stuff to the Marines and fixing them at the funeral homes and getting them out of airplanes. I questioned God, and
They say
he was just like, "Hey, you've been picked to carry the extra burden."
God gives the toughest battles to the strongest warriors.
Right.
And your battle, I cannot fathom that shit.
Yeah,
It's tiring, man. Like I remember. So the bar now, there's a huge it's transition. Like you look at this place now, man. And when we first came that first time, it was just like they've been doing it for years. Can you imagine doing this for years and years and years and having and he was just like, I think he was kind of like, fuck, I'm tired, man. You know what I mean? And then fucking Jeff built that bar. You know what I mean?
The table.
You guys built
the
the
Warriors
table.
Yeah.
And
the table we sit at right now.
Yeah, and then I came up, and I was like, I gotta put something on this fucking bar. Yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna fucking do this thing, and we're gonna put it on the bar, and we'll bring it up.
And you cited it last night?
And I brought it up, and I put it in my bag, and we carried it up. Me and my old lady carried it up, and we were like, we gotta make sure this doesn't get broken. Like we're trying to put it in the overhead compartment and shit, flying it from Florida, but it was like the finishing touch for that bar. Man.
I felt honored to be here to watch you mount that.
And
because I got it. I got it right then and there. And when you did that, I saw it. I said, I could say I was here for when they put that up.
Yeah. And but seeing his face, man, like it was like a spark, like a new spark generated in him. It was like, you know what? I needed this fucking kickstart.
Yeah.
To get me back.
You brought the fire back.
Well, it's another generation. It's another group. It's another evolution of guys coming through that are now just learning and embracing and understanding what you're creating here, man, or have created. It's unbelievable because it's a pilgrimage, so to speak. And when you get here,
it's a perfect word.
Yeah, it's like
I like it.
You just embrace it all. It really just understanding who it's healing and how it heals. Just being in the same room and having a cocktail and having conversation with people who understand each other on a completely different level. Whether you serve in the Marine Corps or not, people understand what's going on once you get within these walls. And we look at the wall and they see those who have fallen and how we remember them when we're here and respect their duty. It's really just unbelievable.
As we get ready to bring out these two Marines we'll be adding tonight, the fire. I've done this 13 plus years, and it's the gathering. It's the gathering. As we lead into what Paulie's getting ready to break out here, just to understand that the dog tags of these Marines, hang behind the bar. As Marines, that's our calling card. Your dog tag is your calling card. We wear it in our left boot, in case you're blown into bits. Like I said earlier, we die better than any other service. We don't want to die, but we go into combat knowing that if I die, the first sergeant's going to take care of me. He's going to take care of my family. All right? It's the family, too. We got these guys on the walls. We're going to add some more tonight. And they can die at peace, whether it was Rory who put a gun in his mouth or whoever. They die at peace because they know their families are taken care of. Is it easier on their families? No, it's not easy on their families. Their families got to live with this forever. That's why we don't want the suicides. We commit suicide when we get past our demons. And we know our fellow Marines will take care of our families as we do all their families. And we have no problem saying, you know what, your son died and he was in the Army. I don't care. he died. And if the Army's not going to take care of him, I'm going to fucking take care of him.
I'll be his first
Goddamn
sergeant,
Marine.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
know?
right, goddammit.
Absolutely. And you gotta think about it. It takes
Yeah.
a special breed of person
It's an eternal first song. That's
that's
beautiful.
gonna say, yeah, that's
Yeah.
gonna say, you know what? I will jump on a fucking grenade for my brothers.
And since day one, since we came home from Iraq, he's had a gathering every year, whether it's his old barn or this barn. And the Gold Star families come here. So you want to come here now, like we talk about this, and we let it all out and we get it out with this. It's amazing. This is therapy.
Well, this year, look, because of the COVID, we were supposed to have this, and when we mounted that, we were supposed to have it.
Absolutely.
But because of COVID, we couldn't have it, but we still got together.
When the Gold Star families are here present and see their sons on that wall,
They're not forgotten.
It's a completely different experience, and it's humbling. It's amazing, and their sons, like you say, are not forgotten. Every single year since we've been home, he has the gathering, and their families are here. Present.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. We are not the unwritten rule that goes back from the old Corps, and that didn't go through with everybody was. I'm going to combat. I'm not freaking worried because if I die, Paulie's going to take care of my family. And if Paulie dies, I'm going to take care of his family. So we can go into combat with no extra weight of, oh, shit, my kids, my wife, whatever. That's what the Marines are different. We fix that fucking bayonet without even a second thought. We go in that fucking building without even a second thought because the brothers got my fucking family. And that's what those guys on the wall, you know, when they went to those buildings, they died in IEDs or suicides or whatever. They knew a Marine was going to fucking cover their ass. And if the Army guys, you know, which we got quite a few on the wall, hey, I will cover your ass, you know, because you die for the same red, white, and blue, you know, as the rest of us. It's sad because you're not here physically, but you know what? Spiritually, they're fucking here drinking a beer
And
and getting
that's
fucked
the
up
perfect,
with us.
That's the perfect segue. You have to tell the story of the old barn, the ghost story. You have to tell it. You got to tell it. We can't leave here without you.
Well,
telling the story.
this was to me the predecessor of the point, the predecessor to where we are now. The time where it dawned on you, there's something going on.
Yeah. I will tell you, I am, you know, I'm a first sergeant. You better, hey, you know, you try and get out NJP, you better give me the fucking evidence, right? You better show me that she didn't exist.
You got to prove to me you did not put that thing in your trunk and try to come over after hours through that gate.
I was a king to hunt your ass down, right? But we used to do the old barns, you know. And we went, and the reason we changed barns, this is a much bigger barn that facilitates as we invited more Marines. You know, and the key to the wall is we've got to have your name on there. We got to know who you are. We got to know who these guys are. Who do we drink with? The whole world's going to fucking remember. Your family's going to know that we remember. They're not forgotten. They're not last year's funeral or 5 years ago funeral. We know who you are every fucking day in the barn, you know. So we had a barn party, and, you know, I was like, hey, you bring somebody, I got no problem with it, to the barn parties, you know. And if they realize that the world doesn't revolve around them, we've all been in combat, we've all done Marine things. If you didn't serve in combat, it's no big deal. It wasn't your time to be, it's just the way the cards fell. It's not bad or indifferent, you know. But the last thing we need to hear is another freaking war story from another Marine or another fucking old-ass agent first sergeant. Because we've all done it, you know. So a guy came, and he brought somebody, and he goes, hey, I brought with this one of these Vietnam Marines. I'm like, hey, good shit, bring him on. I don't give a shit, you know. And the Vietnam Marines, when I came back from Desert Storm, even though the whole world had shit on them, you know, the whole Woodstock and all that group had shit on them, they still said, you know what, we're not going to let that happen to the next generation of Marines. They could have said, fuck everything, fuck everybody, we don't care. You know, they were at the docks seeing us off. You know, I was in 3-2 at the time as we headed over to Iraq. And they were there greeting us, and we had parades, and they made sure of all that stuff. And they made sure we didn't get screwed like them, you know. So this Vietnam guy comes up and he's like, "Hey man, you got a lot of energy in your barn, you know?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got 150 people here, you know. They're Marines, they're Gold-Star families."
That's one way to describe it.
I fucking love this story.
And he's like, "No, you got a lot of energy." I'm like, "Yeah, I got 150 motherfuckers and I got to feed, you know, and I don't have MREs." And he goes, "No, there's energy here, there's power here, you know." I'm like, "All right, you know, maybe the Vietnam guys are still smoking shit. I don't know."
Possible.
And
It's a thing.
but he goes, "No, you know, I'm part of this big, this one of these ghost groups, you know." That I'm like, "Dude, I don't see it. And if you don't show if the first sergeant can't see it."
Like paranormal investigation.
Yeah. It was one of those. It was a bigger thing than I thought it was. I thought it was like some guy who had a, you know,
Okie doke shit, huh?
yeah, some little radio in his, you know, in some NVGs or something. And
Yeah, I tried ghost hunting before.
And,
It didn't work.
so he goes, "No, I want to come do a ghost thing on your barn because you have a lot of energy here." I'm like, "Nah." I said, "You know, that's not what the barn's about. The barn's about these guys. It's about their families. This is holy ground, it's sacred ground. I'm not going to make it something else, you know." So for like 6 months, and there was always crazy shit going on in the barn. And then once again, on the first part, you know, you ain't got facts, your ass is getting burnt, you know. So after 6 months, you know, I started thinking, after, you know, between Desert Storm and a couple times over in Iraq and Fallujah, I said, well, maybe, I'm either losing my mind, I need fucking medications, or something's going on here, you know. So I said, "You know what? Hey, come on out, do your fucking thing." It was like 6 months down the road. I said, "Come out, do your thing." And so the guy comes out, and they weren't a garage thing. They were like 2 vans with tons of monitors and all these fucking things, and they had all kind of a whole crew of people, and they actually did TV shows, and I didn't know that, you know. I'm always skeptical. They set up in the barn, and it was the middle of the night, and we're in the house, me and the wife in the house, like, "Stay in the house. We don't want you to interfere with them." I'm like, "Hey, no problem, you know. Now, I don't have to go to the field, you know." So they're doing all their videotaping. They call us, and they're like, "Hey, we told you to stay in the house." I'm like, "We are in the house." You know, because we were always getting like people at the door, but there wasn't people there. There was always shot glasses, you know, upstairs as we're doing shots here.
Like clanging.
Yeah, they were clanging like people were doing. My kids were like, "Dad, I thought you were upstairs." We heard the shot glasses going. We ran upstairs to see you. Whoa. And there's nobody up there. You know, we thought you were up there with Jeff or Mad Dog or somebody. You know. We'd be in the downstairs of the barn. You'd hear all the footsteps going back and forth upstairs, and I'd go upstairs. I thought the dogs were doing something. We have a lot of rescue dogs. We save everything. Yeah. We go upstairs, no dogs. There's nothing. It's, you know, quiet up there. So I'm like, okay, I'm either losing my mind from the war or something, you know. So I told the guy to come in. So he calls us. He's, you know, midnight, 1 in the morning from the barn. He's like, "Hey, I told y'all to stay in the house." I'm like, "We are in the house." He's like, "No, I heard y'all coming up the stairs, and you know. A couple of y'all like, "No, we're in the house." So then we go out to the barn. He was like, "I want you to come out the barn," like it was around 2 in the morning. And they have all these red sensor things, and I'm in there and I'm doing shots with the boys in the dark, as I always do. I drink with them, and then when I do my shot, you know, I would slam my glass, say, "Oh, good shit," you know, with the boys. So they're taping all this stuff, and I'm talking to them. They're talking and doing their thing. They go away at the end of the night. And the next morning, they go away. They come back about a month later, and they're like, "Hey, we got to show you the videotapes of all this stuff." You know, they do their analysis, and they listen to everything. And so they're on they got the laptop, and it's playing, and they're like, "You can hear the footsteps going up and down the stairs." I'm like, okay, you know, maybe it could be whatever. But, you know, I'm not seeing nothing. Even though you hear the footsteps going up to the second floor, just like we're here on the second floor. We're in the bar. I'm doing shots, and I'm putting the glass down. I'm saying good shit. And then, like, a minute or so later, you're hearing other voices, which are not clearly my voice, saying good shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's Marine shit right there.
So then I'm like,
Crazy, right?
yeah, and you're like, all right, what the fuck? And then you can see the guy in the chair, and he's talking, he's asking all the ghost questions like they do on the TV shows, and he can't see anything because it's pitch black, but you can see where they're infrared gizmos. I can see a shadow next to him to the left of the guy as he's sitting in the chair and he's talking. And he doesn't see anything. And you see the shadow walk directly across in front of him, And, I mean, you're seeing 30-inch arm swing kind of thing. And I'm like, holy fuck. And like I said, I am not a ghost person. I don't believe in, all that shit to this point. You can see him through the shadow as it walks through. He gets darker, but you can still see him, and it goes right by him, and it is clearly a fucking figure.
An apparition.
An apparition,
See it.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy fuck, after hearing the voices and the footsteps and all that in the barn, they caught on tape, and then seeing that thing, and the guy in the chair has no clue, he just went by in front of him.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck, there's something here, So they're like, hey, we want to bring in a medium. I'm like, what the fuck's a medium? Like I eat steaks, no rare medium. He goes, oh, they talk to the spirits or whatever. I'm like, all right, because now I'm mesmerized by what he just showed and I heard on the videos. So they bring in this medium. I say, you know what? I ain't going to say a fucking word because I don't trust this whole fucking...
And you don't want to feed him nothing.
Right. You don't want to give him anything.
Yeah.
And she walks in, and she goes, who's David, right? She goes, David's been talking to me the whole ride over here. And David was the first one I crawled, actually, David Coulard was the first one I walked into the plane and got him all ready and brought him out. He was the first one. He got shot through the head. Yeah. Nobody knew that but me and the freaking mother, how he died when I went to go notify her.
You were telling us you were trying to take the pillow down.
Yeah. She go and she's like, his name's David. And he's been talking to me. He's kind of like the guy who runs the barn, Sergeant David Coulard, sniper. And she's like, he's mad at himself. She goes, he's very mad because he did something he knew he shouldn't have done, and he's holding the side of his head. Something happened on the side of his head, and he fell over, and he's mad because he knew better.
Damn, crazy.
And, he was with the 325. He was the snipers that got ambushed because they kept using the same route in and out. Yeah. They got ambushed.
We've seen it.
And he got shot through the side of the head in the ambush. And she knew that, she knew his name. I was like, all right, this is freaky, because nobody would have known there was something wrong with the side of his head. That's where, and we done the bandage. I put the pillow up, for the viewing, to make sure you couldn't kind of see it, And they did a great job at, in Dover, but they had because of the exit hole, they had to put white bandages, And she knew that, and then she's looking at the different guys on the wall, She's not saying their names because some of them have their names on them, And she looked at Detchen, and she's like, something's wrong with his back here, And Detchen got, shot through the side, when he went out with Escobar, who got shot through the thigh, and she knew that, and she wouldn't say he got shot. She goes, there's something wrong with his shoulder, Pearson. She knew something was wrong with his. Pearson got shot by a sniper right through the shoulder. It just went right through, and he fucking dropped. And she's going one by one saying where they were hurt, something was bothering them or something was wrong there. And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm not saying a word. I'm not giving any hints because I want to disprove.
It's fucking creepy.
It is creepy. Yeah, and I'm like.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah. And
she's legit.
And she's like, Coulard. I said, he's the one that holds the formation when you're up here drinking. And the other weird thing is I have a friend of mine. He's in the Army. Right?
The first, it makes sense.
Yeah, but you know what?
Everybody else after him is a boot to this motherfucker, spiritually or not. Hey, what up? Welcome, fool.
But she knew, and she goes, they all want to thank Jeff, right? Jeff, not this Jeff.
Oh, I was get away from me, creep.
She goes, we want to acknowledge Jeff. They want to acknowledge Jeff for being my number. Jeff's an Army friend of mine. I call him the Yeti. He's 6'5", 350 pounds. But whenever I do the Gold Star families and all the functions, he works the bar for me. You know? She goes, they want to acknowledge Jeff behind the bar. She never met this guy. I never even met the woman in my fucking life. You know? No clue. She's like, they want to acknowledge Jeff behind the bar for what he fucking does.
Jeff has been pouring them shots.
And he was an Army guy who,
pouring them shots. Good shit.
Yeah, he manages the bar whenever we have the gatherings once a year and all the families come in.
Just that dude.
Yeah.
The amazing thing, right, is that with a story like this, believe it or not, and I tend to believe it based off of who you are and the lack of information you gave her, their spirits all live on, continue, right? And they know where to come home. They're coming to the barn, right? I'm sure when you moved that first barn to this barn, they're in this room with us.
Well, I even asked her that. I was like, what would bring them here, right? She goes, well, you got the parents hung your dog tags behind the bar, right? So your dog tags.
The calling card,
relics. They're relics.
The one thing I didn't think about is on my little monument over there are my boots from Fallujah. And those boots I wore. I drove the ambulance. Doc Erico was always in the back of the ambulance. I didn't want the Marines to drive the ambulance. So when somebody got shot and wounded, we had, killed and wounded in Iraq. I always drove the ambulance. Doc Erico would be in the back trying to fucking keep them alive. So I got the blood of all those guys on those boots right over there, and I scrubbed the fuck out.
What a fucking story.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what a fucking
That's
story.
That's a relic. Those are
When
relics.
you think about it, we were talking about this when we talked about this story that here at the barn last time, right? You were talking about the talismans.
Those are
Talismans.
Yeah, dog tags, the talismans.
Great,
Yeah, I
great
mean,
not relics, talismans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so
Their
you gotta remember
bloods-
they're attached to the
the energy.
The energy is attached to those.
More so, they know they will be perceived here.
Right.
They know they will not be forgotten. That's the most important thing. So the energies, it wasn't that barn. It was us. It was this convergence. It was those boots. It was those photos. Wherever we are, they are. And that's what we felt when we got here. That's what I felt instantaneously. Once again, to me, this is the beginning of our Holy of Holies. Right. This is somewhere where the energies come to just hang and drink. And
with us.
With us.
With us.
With us.
We don't drink to them. We drink with them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tell us about this model top. Where did you get it from? How did you come across it?
It came to me from the barn. Things come to me from the barn. Families bring here. I got the light from Kevin Latinier's family. He got killed over there. That was his favorite light in his room. The Corvettes over there were Detchins. His mother and father brought those. Those were his favorite cars in his room. He always wanted to have a Corvette. There's things in here where the fire department brought this from. They flew at 9/11 and we flew it in Fallujah over the city. The families bring stuff here. I scrubbed the fuck out of them boots to get that blood, and it just would not go away. It's not. Yeah. The old core was if we went to combat. If you die, take care of your family. If I die, you take care of mine. I live and dream, and I just live by that fucking motto. And when when I get tired and these guys come along, and all of a sudden they bring it back to life. And I was like, all right, what I'm doing has purpose. 13 years later of doing this, 13, 14 years of doing this, people remind me it has a purpose. When the Gold Star families come and put something in there, it has a purpose,
It's not just important to you.
It's my obligation.
It's important to all of us and
Yeah.
all of them. This is, once again, thank you for taking on this burden because it's necessary. But this is important to all of us.
Kind of what Paulie was asking too is, in reference to someone who may know, you came home, you settled down here, you bought the other house you had, and you had the barn. How did you walk into the barn that day and say, this is what I'm going to use this space for?
And I would tell you, families or Marines, or you bring something to the barn, and it will sit on the table, it will sit somewhere, it will sit on the bar.
And get curated as well.
And the barn will tell me where it belongs.
It's a calling.
Yeah.
Life is about callings, right?
Yeah.
You had a calling to create
Yeah.
a barn. These guys had a calling to create a podcast to help other veterans understand, and communicate with other veterans. I mean, we all have callings, right? When I started doing disaster response, it was also a calling,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
People needed help. So what am I going to do? I'll go into harm's way when other people are trying to get out of it. We all have callings, just like the Marine Corps. And just like being stamped at birth, it's a calling. And this is your calling. And we embrace it.
And it goes back to the whole ghost thing. I was like, am I going crazy? Am I like, freaking
Because
schizophrenic?
you weren't a ghost believer.
No, I wasn't a ghost believer, but I had an empty barn. All of a sudden, one day I go in there, it's like, I got to put these flags up. I got to do these things. And something was telling me to freaking do this. And I had no rhyme or reason. And it's like certain things had to go in certain places. It was like I was hearing it in my head. And that's why I did let the ghost guys in there. Like, am I losing my fucking mind? Or what the fuck is going on here, And it was part of the whole, this is the way it's supposed to be. These guys reaching out or whatever on the walls or whatever, no rhyme or reason. And then when the ghost guy showed me something, like, all right, at least I'm not fucking losing my damn mind, It was what I was supposed to do. And then when I get tired and I get I'm ready to close the doors, and those guys realize it on the walls.
They send another knucklehead like us
Yeah,
to
they
walk
send
through
these-
your door.
He sent this bunch of assholes to fucking revitalize you.
Build a bar, put a table together, start rearranging.
And they tell me, yeah, it's not time. No, it's not time to quit. It's what you're doing is your calling. Everybody has a calling.
We never quit.
We don't.
We never quit. I mean,
We take care of the families. We take care of the fucking Marines. As the first sergeant who retired the fucking long ass time ago, who could have quit all this stuff and just led my own life. It's not meant to be. It's not meant to be. It's part of the burden I carry.
it's not in your fabric, though, to give up. And, I mean, I keep on looking to the right, and it's not to the camera, it's to the wall that hangs pictures of our brothers. And you'll see these images throughout the podcast, because I'm sure these guys will edit all that stuff in. You carry that because it was needed. You carry that because not only do we look for it, but they're sending you that same message. Yeah. They're looking for it. And when you have the gathering and you have the families here and everybody comes together, I mean, COVID hit us this year, but next year's another year, and in the years past, those families need it more than anything else. They need to know that their sons are not forgotten and that people are thinking.
That's the key.
And that's the key. And that's the beauty of what you've created here. All of us be able to come in, all of us to look at those images and understand that although they're not with us today, we're thinking of them, we're drinking with them, and we're embracing them. And it's an important mission. I call it a mission, man. Yeah. It's like everything we do in life, we have a mission. How you want to break it up, what it's going to be, this is yours.
It's like we talked. I think we came here, and in the same way we inspired you to get that spark, and you did the same thing for us. We decided we were going to have this retreat.
Right.
We decided we were going to do this retreat, and then Rory passes away.
Right. Come up with a name, right?
Now we got to come up with a name for this retreat, and you know what? And COVID kind of threw us off track because of we're not being able to get together. So we didn't get a chance to have it. But when we have it, I think it's gonna be amazing. I think it's gonna be an amazing thing because it's something that it's not just therapeutic for us. It's gonna be therapeutic for a lot of people, man. The people that come to the retreat, and one of the things that we said when coming up with this retreat was what?
The name.
Was that we have to finish the retreat at the barn.
At the barn.
At the barn.
This is a big part of that.
We said the last day we were going to finish the retreat here at the barn, do a barbecue, and have these guys all come to the barn because we thought it was like a necessary.
It's a necessary part of that
part
healing
of that
process.
Healing process.
And understand that they're not by themselves, right? They're not.
Absolutely.
They're not in the struggle.
Exactly.
And you said it best. They walk away with a phone number.
Right.
You're going through a challenge. You're going through a difficult time. You can reach out to somebody within your group, within your community that can help you, right?
Absolutely.
talk you off the ledge maybe, find other brothers that can help you get through whatever challenges you're going
Absolutely.
through. And you know, you came back too quick. I was going to say, you know, your story's unbelievable. It really is. It truly is an unbelievable story.
And you're brushing the surface.
And right, you're just scraping the surface. I mean, not a dry eye in the house. There's not a devil dog brother here that had a dry eye.
The thing is when you realize when the people come here, it's not about you. It's not about another story of First Harden or whoever. You know, it's about them. You know what I'm saying? And
This isn't the place to put your dick on a table because that's not where.
And as much as I want to just close the doors for them, I can't, right? Because this is their connection to their families.
You know what? For us, you can't either because this
Yeah.
is a great place for us to come and convene and be able to share stories and share our emotions and not be judged by any aspect of it. It's a gift.
Tools.
Yeah, you provide a gift.
And the thing about the barn is, whether it's my idea or whatever, it's not meant to be like a single barn. You know, it's like, man, we can open these all around the country. How many people can we fucking help, right?
Yeah. Right.
Keep the guns out of their fucking mouths, the nooses off their fucking necks. You know, we as Marines, you know, we're demented. You know, many.
This church.
Yeah.
We need churches.
It's intervention, really.
Yeah.
You know
it's
what was
intervention.
the most powerful thing when I came here for the first time was he said, save your caps, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, why are we saving the caps? And he was like, save the caps until we leave, until you're going to leave at the end, and I'm going to tell you why. So hopefully these guys will get it in. They'll get some of this in their B-roll or whatever, but that's fancy Hollywood talk. For getting footage, extra footage.
He learned something.
I was in Miami Vice, dude.
Hey!
But one of the things that stood with me was the fact that when we were walking out, we took these caps, and there's a barrel out there, and we tossed these caps in the barrel, and when you toss these caps in there, you're tossing your demons away. And I thought something so simple had so much of an impact. Because you think about it, you're like, fuck, that's powerful, man. As simple as it is, the gesture itself is powerful, man. It really is. It's powerful.
You're shedding. When you
absolutely
drop
right.
that cap in that barrel, you're shedding that weight.
Absolutely.
Because you're able to share it. I mean, this conversation here, we recorded it, but typically these conversations stay within the barn.
Yeah.
They happen all the time.
They happen all the time.
Camera off, camera.
Right,
time we come here.
Right, so we're open right now, but when we walk out of here, we drop that cap. Whatever
demons
those
stay
demons
here.
are, the
And I
demons
do. I
stay
feel.
here.
I don't know about you, but when I walk out of here, I feel lighter.
I feel lighter too. I absolutely feel lighter,
And this
man.
place is obviously special to everybody, and that's exactly why, you know, I had to incorporate what you've seen at my house. You call it mini barn. I can't not have, when I can't be here, I have it at my own house.
We gotta have them everywhere.
have them everywhere.
Exactly what I'm saying.
Fucking help vets throughout the country.
I'm building a bar
At least
at my
it's not
house
a
this
staple
week.
gun here.
Well, you know, growing up, I grew up in the culture of Santeria. And we have altars to our santos
Right,
and
to
our
the santos,
muertos,
yeah.
which are our ancestors. And we believe there's a connection between here and the afterlife. And it's that conduit. That conduit is a point of remembrance, a point of memoriam, you know. And that being said, I would like to introduce two new individuals.
And we're going to explain how the barn
Yes,
works
sir.
with these individuals we're bringing
do
in, that you and Paulie got, you know? Because the barn is bigger than just the guys we know. It's, you know, it's all of them who served. It's all of them who gave their lives, you know? It's us, you know, bringing them back to life. And I had a friend of mine whose dad was in the Korean War. And he's like, I knew the guy forever. And he's like, many years later, he's like, Dad, he's like, Ben, can I put my dad in your barn? You know, I was like, dude, I didn't even know your fucking dad served, you know, and he's like, yeah, you know, he served in Korea, and I'm like, where's your dad right now? Where's his pictures right now? He's like, well, it's in my closet, you know. I'm like, well, besides you, who the fuck knows that? He's like, nobody. I'm like, he comes to the barn, he's alive to the whole fucking world again.
Get your dad here ASAP.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, why would you put him in your closet and the whole world forgets what he did and who he is and what he did for our country? You know, just like we do these guys, you know, that you and Paul are going to break out. It's like the whole world is going to remember them. But more importantly, their families are going to say, you know what? The whole world hasn't forgotten my fucking son.
Never.
Or my husband or my dad. Or, you know, it's bigger than just you hiding them or whatever. You know, there's a whole family tied to these guys. And they may never see this or they may be like, holy shit, the world has not forgotten. You know, when the big parades and the funerals and everybody's lined up and on Monday they're back at Walmart, we haven't forgotten. You know, and these guys that you two are bringing tonight is what the barn's about. You know, if no one else fucking knows, their fellow Marines are going to know. We're going to drink with them, you know.
We would never allow it to be for nothing.
We owe that to them
Never
because
allow it
they
to be for
died,
nothing.
you know, to our left and right on the fucking battlefield. And that's what we said we would do. We would take care of you and your families the best we can.
Yep.
And if their families see this, then they'll be brought into the fold, and that's the way it was meant to be, you know. But the thing is, if the Korean War vet, if they were important to somebody, they're important to us at the barn. They are important to us at the barn. You know, with that, let's bring the new guys into the barn. You know.
With Jason.
Well, the individual that I want to bring in here, I want to call his spirit to the bar, is Mark Evnan. Mark Evnan was in my Scout Sniper Platoon, my first Scout Sniper Platoon, 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. And he was, if not the first, one of the first. I'm pretty sure he was the first casualty or KIA in action in OIF-1. And he was a very close friend of mine, awesome individual, put me on to a lot of different things, such as, you know, freaking the whole Golden Compass trilogy and stuff like that, which opened me up to a possibility of different dimensions and worlds. And now everybody knows me. I'm a crazy son of a bitch because of him. I just want to say God bless him, and I want to welcome him to the war where he can come and basically be with his brothers. And when we here, just drink with us and chill with us. We miss you, Mark, man, and I appreciate you, my brother. You know, welcome.
To Mark.
With Mark.
With Mark.
That's right, brother.
And Mark would appreciate the fact that we are doing this with some sheep. But the key that we say in the barn is we got to have a picture. We got to have their name. So everybody who walks in here who doesn't know Mark, now they can see a face, they can see a name, they know who they're drinking with, and the guy is back alive, you know?
He's fallen into Dave's formation.
Yeah. I may need to, I can actually NJP fucking spirits. I love it! Don't think because you're on the other side, you can escape the first heart. All right.
I love it. So get your ass in JP. You better be on top of formation, Mark.
I would change them chevrons on that fucking picture.
I love it.
All right, now we got Paul's guy.
The Marine I want to bring in is Lance Corporal Torrey Gray, another 3rd Battalion, 4th Marine. Awesome devil dog. When he joined the Marine Corps, he joined very young, 17 years old. He wasn't even old enough to buy cigarettes. I remember buying him cigarettes so he could smoke. And, you know, through his valiant efforts, he lost his life in Iraq, protecting another Marine on the top of a tower. He was up there as a team leader with one of his machine gunners, the saw gunner, and he put this Marine underneath him, and he absorbed every single round, protecting that Marine, because he knew that that Marine's life was more valuable than his own. And I thank you, my brother, and I will see you, because as Marines, we guard the gates of heaven.
Right.
And I will be there with you, my brother.
And they walked the barn, brother.
So Valhalla.
Yep. Valhalla. I'm going to NJP Paulie for buying them cigarettes.
Nasty.
Underage.
I will take that one with pride.
And you know what? As long as we're alive, the world's gonna remember these motherfuckers.
That's right, baby.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what
it.
we do.
As long as Marines exist, we will all be remembered, bro. That's it.
Yeah.
It ain't up to nobody else. It's up to us.
Yep. This is good shit, man. This is what the barn's the fucking
That's right.
about.
Well,
The
we can.
demons and the caps are saying.
We can talk all night.
Yeah.
Believe me, you know we
No,
can.
I know.
But I think this is a perfect cap to this ceremony, this tribute, and the justice you do us all in remembering and taking on the burden of this pain and doing it so elegantly. I have to tell you, thank you and God bless you. First, I appreciate you.
Hoorah, brother. It's my my burden to carry. You know? We all have our burdens. This one's mine. I take it in the good way, though. I take it in the good way. And when I get the energy of people like y'all showing up, it says, hey, we keep pushing for us. All right?
We give a fuck too.
Yeah.
You aren't the only one.
Happy birthday, Marines.
Happy birthday, Marines. This is the
Hoorah.
best birthday show
Absolutely.
I could ever think of. If I were going to watch any podcast, this would be one I'd want to watch.
Absolutely.
This is gonna be lit.
So,
Love it.
First, Art, I remember you telling me about Facebook and how during these times everyone signs on to a Facebook page.
You know what?
Can you tell us about that, please?
Yeah, that is a big thing because, Facebook has opened up a platform, whether you like it or not, that we can reach out to the families. So, on Christmas Eve, the world's thinking about whatever. I'm thinking about my Marines and their families, as many of us are. Those families are thinking it's another Christmas without my son, without my husband, without my dad. So what I do on Facebook, and it's B.A. Granger, and I change it around sometimes. It's on Christmas Eve. We start the roll call at 6 o'clock. So at 6 o'clock, and it's not about, a lot of people come to the barn, but it's not about the barn. It's about the Marines and it's about their families. And then I say the Marines, but it's the Army and the sailors and everybody on that wall. We have some daughters up there from my Marines who died of heroin overdoses and the suicides.
They're still welcome, right?
Yeah.
They're still goddamn welcome.
Yeah. We
Still
all
our
we
brothers
all
and
deal with our
sisters.
demons, right? So that mother's going to be on her couch on Christmas Eve thinking the whole world forgot her son. She's going to be thinking another Christmas without her son. So my counter to that was to create this Facebook at 1800, 6 p.m. for civilians. I go on my Facebook. We do the roll call. You put on there every name of who we're drinking with. Once again, we don't drink to them because they're here, so we drink with them. And you start listing the names. All the names are rolling on there. The families looking on there, the Gold Star families, the Marines who were on the left or right, so these guys who died are looking on there. At 7 o'clock, we lift that first toast with them, right? And it's, it could be, you don't have to drink, it's not about the alcohol. It's not, you can drink soda, you can drink milk, you can drink water. But at 7 o'clock, the people are lifting that toast, no matter where they're at, and they're putting pictures up there. And the families, that mother, of that guy on the wall, of these guys that we're introducing tonight, are looking, and they're seeing that, and they're seeing all the comments and all the shots, and instead of being on that couch by themselves in the dark, in the living room, thinking the whole world's forgotten, and she's missing her son, she's seeing what everybody's writing, all the Marines are writing, and and she's reading those things, and the next thing you know, it's midnight, it's 1 in the morning, and she's got through the night, not by herself.
Well, I tried.
Yeah, but with everybody, you got her through the night, and she's thinking happy thoughts, or hopefully happy thoughts to some extent.
Happier thoughts.
Yeah, not
but she's
the
not
sad.
alone.
She's got a tribe. She's got a tribe to
She's
go
got a
with.
tribe.
She's got a tribe
Yeah.
to go through it with.
And she just says, it's been 13 years or 15 years or 10 years.
It never gets easier.
And they haven't, they don't get easier for them. It's just like suddenly they flip a switch and they're back to normal. They lost their son, or their husband or their dad. But we carry them through that fucking night, and they go to sleep and they wake up and they made it not by themselves on the couch at night, but with the Marines, And these guys on the wall say, you know what? Thanks for taking care of my mom again. my kids. And, you know, that's what we do every fucking Christmas Eve in this barn. If you want to come here, that's fine. But it's not about being here. It's about being on Facebook so everybody sees it and gets captured in what's going on.
So if somebody wants to send you a picture to put up in the barn, how do they get in touch with you?
That's a good question. I can't even find myself after that.
Like, how do they get in touch with you on social media?
Come to the barn.
Or if they can't, come
Make the
social
pilgrimage.
Make the pilgrimage. Listen, I'm sorry.
You know what's beautiful? That's a great question.
Yeah.
They got a network.
In this
They
day
got
and
SOS
age,
Bad Monkey right now to get in touch with. So
Listen.
we can help you get in touch with the barn.
Yeah.
And Ben. And get you here. So,
this will never be a cookie cutter thing. This will never be something that we will water down to the point where it will not mean anything, because we're Marines and we don't do any of that anytime. Everything we do is legacy and pride. That being said, we will honor them all. But you got to bring them here. You got to see it. You got to feel it. Come.
Yeah.
Hey, do you accept these strangers to come and honor their children with you?
I got Vietnam
They're not
guys on the
strangers.
wall.
Say it louder. That's family.
It's family.
thank you. Thank you, sister.
God damn it. Thank you.
Thank you, sister.
That's my boo right
Big
there.
old smile. Look at you, girl.
That's my boo.
And on
You
that
ain't
one,
in the
what
shadows.
Stevie
You're
said
shining
earlier,
in the light.
Like a diamond.
Not strangers. They're family.
As much as it's a small world, it's an even smaller Marine Corps, because everybody we brought here so far, including yourself, Maddie, Brando, there's somebody on that wall that somebody knew or served with. That's right. And that's even crazier, that connection stands true.
It's a small world.
We will say in closing,
Yes, sir.
on the barn, if they're important to you,
They're important.
they're important to us.
Bruh, I love that shit.
Cheers with that.
With that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. In closing, I want to go around and I want to discuss our philanthropy endeavors, our 501cs, or also our entrepreneurial endeavors, because there's people
The
that.
fuck kind of language are you talking about?
That's that fancy talk.
That's their language. That's their language. All right. Hold on. Let me make this Marine talk. What the fuck is you doing, and what you want people to know what you're doing?
Exactly.
There you
What,
go.
am I going first?
Whatever you want.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you guys about my amazing product.
Oh, so fresh.
This is our beard so fresh.
That's why my beard looks
With
so
all
good
these
tonight.
guys, that's
We got
why
it
that's
right.
why all these guys are glistening, because they
That's
got
it.
this beard so fresh. And this is ball so fresh.
I think I put the ball so fresh on my beard. That's why.
I put the beat.
It's not the first time you had nuts on your chin. And this is our ball so fresh. Don't have stink balls. Buy our product.
Ray?
Always busy, always doing things. Veterans Response is a nonprofit 501c3, giving back to our communities, going through struggling times. During this last year, we were able to provide food banks with thousands of pounds of food. When people were losing jobs during the COVID, we were making sure they could at least find a location that they can find food to be able to feed their families and try to find some type of normal. With these amazing brothers that we got here right now, I'll move that out. We're looking to put together a retreat through Veterans Response for our brothers, and that's a huge goal for us, is finding an outlet where veterans help veterans struggling, finding some type of support, help, and a venue where they have people who can understand them like we understood each other here in the barn. So we have nonprofit. Go to veteransresponse.org. Check out the website, see the work what we have done, and we'll be
Send us nominations too.
we'll be looking for nominations. Next year is going to be a different year, hopefully, and we hope to be doing incredible things for our veteran community. And everybody who's sitting here at the table is involved at every level. We're completely transparent, and we love to share what we can with everybody. So thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. I love these dudes, man. More than you know. And it's amazing. It's amazing just to be in the audience.
I want to say for Ray's sake, because he's not going to toot his own horn. For his 501c, I hope you guys know he does not receive enough donations to cover his
Right.
costs.
I was gonna say that.
I think it must be important to say he did not say that right now. I'm gonna say that for him. During natural disasters in other fucking countries, he responds with veterans, and they go and purify water. Water you cannot do without within 72 hours. You will die. You will succumb to dehydration. He goes out there in disaster zones with other veterans and comes out of his own fucking pocket.
Own
To
pocket.
purify water with veterans. And he accepts your donations, but your donations ain't enough. But it's okay. We'll talk about that some other time. No, I'm serious. No, fuck that. I'm serious. God bless you, Ray.
Thank you,
God
brother.
bless you, Ray.
Thank you.
First song, what you got?
Hey, all I can say
You got a
is
lot.
I don't have all that much. I mean, the
I think you need like a sandals getaway with you and your wife. You deserve it.
This is what they were.
We need to put in for that because God bless you. Once again, God bless you and your wife for doing
If
this.
you're gonna read his creds at the end, you got to talk like the Micro Machine man back in the day.
Nah, the
No,
barn,
don't-
the barn's the barn. The barn does what it does. I would just tell people, hey, you know, the veterans, we're all fucked up.
No,
But we understand
We
each
accept
other.
it.
Accept each other.
And that's okay.
That's
We
what
signed that contract, B. But we
Support
got us.
Support your veterans. Support the things that do great things for veterans. You'd be surprised how much veterans do for people outside the veteran community. The kids, you know, are suffering from the cancers and the things that they can't control. You know, the families that are suffering. We as Marines continue to take care of the citizens of America. You know, it's our obligation. Not the frauders, not the scammers, but the real people suffering. So, you know, take care of their families. You know, with Ray's thing, he takes care of so many fucking great people. Look at the organizations. What are they giving to the community? Are they giving 100%? Are they giving 90%? Or are they giving like 40% and putting the rest of the money in their damn pockets? You know, look at those fucking things.
That's right.
So many people thump their chest, you know, and it's all about their recognition, not the people they're taking care of. Just look at what you're doing. You know, I can tell you, Ray is taking care of people. The barn, there is $0. I don't want no dollars. I just want it to help fucking families. I collaborate with Ray and these other people because they do such great things. And if they didn't do great things, they wouldn't even be allowed in the barn.
That's right. That's right.
Just take care of vets, man. We're fucked up. You know, we're fucked up. But we're happily fucked up, you know.
And we did it for you. And ourselves.
So that's all I got.
Introduce your wife, please.
Oh, my beautiful wife
Come
who
on.
just ran out the
Come on,
door.
come out of here.
Yes, he ran out the
That
barn.
was perfect time.
I will say, there's a good chance if my wife wouldn't fucking save my ass like she saved all the rescue dogs and rescue donkeys, there's a good chance I'd
You're
be
just
on
another rescue dog. You're a rescue devil dog is what you are,
Am I a
man.
rescue donkey?
I want that. I want that.
You smell like what?
Shut up,
I
my
want-
fair.
You got that.
I got that.
I want that. I can have
And we
that.
had this conversation a
I
couple weeks ago.
want- You saying I don't need that?
You said you don't want that.
Yes.
Come on.
You need your shine
Yes.
too. Come on.
Yes.
You are his rock.
This is the rock. This is the one that
He
keeps
said you rescued him like you rescued those dogs
and the donkeys,
Right here.
and the donkeys.
and that's what keeps.
That's your microphone.
That's your microphone.
Yeah.
I got you right here. Ready?
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
If it wasn't for this awesome girl, maybe I'd be on the wall. Who knows? Right?
God forbid.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh.
Thank you.
Our other dead mother.
Thank you.
It's crazy because I've been here a handful, maybe plus times.
Yeah.
Every time I walk in, I'm embraced like I was part of the family.
Absolutely.
That's the amazing thing. She takes me in like I've been here the
I
whole
know.
time. I mean, it's like you don't find that everywhere,
No.
right?
No.
We have two dead mothers.
But I mean, I didn't serve with Ben, but Ben gets me because of our history. But
In your age.
In our age.
It's
But-
so funny because it's true.
I'm an old motherfucker. But
I'm like right behind you. I'm sorry.
For-
It's not funny.
for the extension beyond him and his beautiful bride to embrace all of us, good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't matter what our walks of life are, you know? She always embraces us. She goes out.
Absolutely.
She brought pizza.
Absolutely.
She brought us a fucking
Chips.
12-pack of
Chips.
fucking beer. She
Absolutely.
brought us chips.
I love it.
It's like we were all, I mean, this is first his wife. She's taking care of all us like
Well,
we
you
were,
know what?
like we were her children, man.
My favorite memory that I will always fucking cherish.
We can't say that on camera.
Sorry, I'm It's Vanessa's fault. She uses the F-bomb all the time. It's But my favorite memory that we had was with her by the fire pit at your house.
Yeah, that was a special.
That was an amazing night.
That blew me away.
It was an amazing night because you know what? We were supposed to have the Gold Star event. We couldn't have it because of COVID, but we decided not to let COVID ruin our, our weekend. And so many people, man, just felt so free and so open to share.
And that's why I asked Jason to share his story again from that podcast because it was beautiful.
It was, dude. Yeah, I remember you breaking down, and you know what? You felt comfortable doing it. You know what I mean? And
I
you
don't know
weren't
how
the only
comfortable
one.
he felt, but he did it because he was in a comfortable situation
I
to be able to share it.
to
To share it.
go over to you and just hold you.
Thank you.
I did. I just wanted to just hold him.
It was,
And
you
to
know,
open up and share.
and it was amazing. Do you remember what you said to me? I'm gonna tell you what you said to me because you don't remember. I can see it. You're like this.
I'm trying.
I was drinking all night.
What's this
You
drunk
said to
brain
me-
saying?
You said to me, "This is why he does what he does." And she
Necessary.
said, you said, you know what? It's amazing that he met guys like you who have the same intentions, and that will always stay with me for the rest of my life.
Such a strong word.
To First on
Intentions.
and his wife. To First on and his wife.
Always
Listen,
stay with me for the rest of
you
my
guys
life.
are necessary. I need you. We need you.
We need you.
We need you.
And we
Thank
love you, man. This is unbelievable. Semper
I
Fi.
love being part of you. That makes my heart warm, really. It makes me feel so good.
Very.